I'm Ed Benkin. Training camp continues around the NFL, and several teams continue to deal with injuries. One of them is with the Falcons, where quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is proceeding cautiously while dealing with what is being called a tweak in his back. Tua insisted it's not serious, but there's no timetable as far as when he will be ready to return to full practice. Baker Mayfield is healthy with the Buccaneers, but quarterback is looking for a new contract. Right now, he has not been happy with what the team has offered him.
Between years, average, and guarantees, probably the most disappointing is years. Didn't get offered anything over 2. And so when you're told you're a franchise quarterback and they handle it otherwise, that's disappointing. So felt like I earned that. It's not a poor me pity party over here.
Mayfield is on the last year of his current deal. In baseball, the Mets send left-handed reliever A.J. Mitchell to the Twins in exchange for a pair of minor leaguers. Shohei Ohtani is expected to be back in the Dodgers lineup tonight after taking off last night. He continues to deal with a knee injury. Dodgers open up a series with the Red Sox tonight. Bottom of the third at Wrigley, Yankees and Cubs are scoreless. College basketball, Wichita State has given head coach Paul Mills a 3-year contract extension.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Omaha, Lincoln, and the surrounding 5-state area. This is your new afternoon routine. Handley and Hansen. On AM 590. WOW. Connect with the show at Handley and Hansen on Twitter and Instagram. Watch us live on YouTube or call the show at 531-895-0590.
Little Hand says it's time to rock and roll.
And here we go. Now, live from the AM 590 WOW studio, here's Nick Handley.
Well, we're waiting.
And Grant Hansen.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
It's the first Friday here of Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW. Yes, that's right. We're back in studio coming off of Big Ten Media Days. The plane actually, see, this is the fun thing about traveling all throughout the highways and byways of the Big Ten and Conference Media Days. We left you saying we were not going to be leaving until like 11 o'clock or even afterwards in Chicago. Well, I've never had this happen, Grant. I've never, ever had this happen to where we got a delay. And then all of a sudden, as we are getting ready to consider dinner, maybe having a post-show pop with some friends, we get the notification that we're back on time. We got to haul ass out to Midway.
The thing. I was refreshing.
Thank God you were, because I wasn't even looking. I'm like, oh, my gosh.
It was us and one of our previously mentioned colleagues enjoying some time together as we waited for the flight that at least 5 members of the Nebraska media contingent were on.
Yeah.
And, so we're sitting there. I'm refreshing, looking, okay, make sure it's not 10:40 that we board now or 11:10 that we board, or we're moving it further back. No, actually, we're boarding at 8:55. And it's, by that point, it was like either 6:50 or 7 o'clock when we discovered that. And it's like, oh, no, we have to go now.
We were inside 90 minutes of boarding time. And as we talked to everybody all throughout the week, Lollapalooza was going on. That was the first full day of it. So I wasn't sure how long it would take us to get to Midway from there. But we made it.
It was like 25 minutes.
Yeah.
It was pretty light. Now,
traffic in Chicago, this was the crazy thing about Chicago the last couple of days. Usually traffic, especially the times that we're going from hotel to hotel and then going to the airport, is usually chaotic. I mean, a blank show.
At 7 o'clock.
I thought it was actually very doable.
It was
as far as Chicago
standards.
It wasn't bad at all.
Now, you were stuck in the middle seat in the taxi on the way back, which was somewhat humorous to me, as you were stuck on the middle seat on your assigned seat on the plane on the way back, on the flight back.
That was a lot easier.
Look, we started the show Wednesday with me saying I would grade myself as A to A+ middle seat occupant. I would have to return the favor. I think you did very well.
I stayed within my frame.
Yeah.
We had a nice young lady, I don't know, she didn't say a word, sitting next to me, but I didn't want to make it look like I was like, all right, big guy, middle seat, I'm taking over.
Well, and then we had this other hurdle to clear, too, that you didn't mention, where we're getting ready to board, maybe 10 minutes or so away. Mitch Sherman, who we had on with us on Wednesday of The Athletic, comes up to us and says that he's essentially been a horrible luck charm when it comes to flights on Southwest. He's been diverted the last 2 times that or at least 2 times in the month of July alone that he had been diverted flying Southwest. And there was a storm that was set to come in at about 11 o'clock when we were landing. And so, as most of you who are from here are aware, there was a storm last night. So we're trying to beat that and hope that we don't get diverted to St. Louis or something. And we would have been doing the show from St. Louis this morning or something.
To quote Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. I thought, I'm in Wichita. I was worried.
It wasn't that bad.
We got off the plane. It wasn't raining. And as soon as we got into the parking garage, it was a monsoon.
Well, I made the comment to you. We were crossing the bridge over to the garage. I was like, oh, man, it's coming down.
Yeah, we got in just in time.
I've had way worse flights into Epley. Like way bumpier flights than what we had.
No,
like coming up from Dallas was awful compared to that, and we were going through it for the most part. So that was crazy. And then came the drive home.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
You couldn't see the lines last night if you're driving around at 11 o'clock. There was no way you could see the lane lines, or you would get like a brief moment of respite, like when you would go under a bridge. It's like when I'm driving back on the interstate, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to stay in front of the car in front of me. I'm going to have a brief awareness of where the lane lines are. And then I can, like, every time you go under a bridge, you can get like a little bit of a sense. But it was crazy how hard it was raining last night.
And we've made it back all in one piece. And
it was fun.
A lot more rested than I thought we would be originally, which is great. Coming up on the show today, no rest for the weary, because we're going to get right back into the college football conversation, the Big Ten Media Days conversation, sort of the post-mortem of Matt Rule's 45-minute side podium session. We got audio for you. We're going to play. We're also going to hear from voice of the Huskers, Kyle Crooks. He joins us in hour number 1. We'll be talking to Scott Docterman of The Athletic. I got to tell you a funny story about that here in just a moment. He'll join us at 3 o'clock. Michael Severe is on the show. That's all you need to know. He's coming on at 4:20. And then big Monday, not only for our second week, but also the debut of the Golics, which kicks off 9 a.m. right here on the AM 590 WOW ESPN radio airwaves. Mike Golick and Mike Golick Jr. are back. They're together doing their show now on ESPN. That debuts on Monday. We're going to talk to Mike Golick Jr. as well in the 5 o'clock hour. Now, Scott Docterman was live and present at Big Ten Media Days. I saw him walking around instead of going, because he was getting ready to go do an interview. And so I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to text him, let him know that, hey, we're here. Would love to talk to you. Love Scott Docterman. Does great work for The Athletic, not just for covering the Iowa beat of it, but also just the college football beat and Big Ten matters as well. He and Mitch Sherman are two of the best. And I never heard anything. And it's very unlike Scott Docterman. And then what was even better is, as we're doing our show, there was another guy, I don't remember where he's from, but another guy that was in front of us doing just some side session stuff and just, I think just pre-recording a bunch of interviews, and he had Scott Docterman. So Scott Docterman is literally in front of us.
Yeah.
I'd already texted him, and I thought, and I told him where we were sitting too. He never looked back or anything. And so I'm like, geez, I must have really pissed off Scott Docterman at some point. And then right as it's funny, you bring up the weather as we were driving through it. As I get out of the airport and I'm driving, I see I have a text from Scott Docterman. Just came through, and he was like very apologetic. He was very overwhelmed, as I'm sure a lot of those guys were very overwhelmed. But his apology was, I would be happy to come on anytime. I'm like, hey, how about tomorrow? So that's where we're going to have Scott Docterman. Always great stuff. Get his thoughts on Big Ten Media Days. But as I mentioned, getting into the 45-minute side session that was going on as we were on the air yesterday, we gave you some of the things that we were starting to get out of it as it was happening. But unfortunately, it almost took us right up to the end of the show. I think we had our last hour, and, the audio was not available at that point. Now, I don't want to make it sound like, oh my gosh, there was so much stuff. You're not going to believe what you heard, but there was.
Hey, there's a whole show worth of stuff.
There was, and there were moments where the head coach, you could tell, was pretty animated. It's pretty fired up about certain things. I want to play this clip. Now, this is Matt Rule talking about just the offseason. Now, of course, the narrative has been very quiet offseason, very under the radar, not a lot of pomp and circumstance, not a lot of appearances on Pat McAfee show, the podcast that Matt Rule did. All of those things have not been present. It's just been very quiet over in Lincoln when it comes to this football team, and especially the coaching staff and the appearances as well. That, and just having the spring practices move up earlier, much earlier than what we've ever seen at Nebraska before. And this is Matt Rule talking about that, because you can really take a lot away from this.
It's a long bite. It is very much worth it.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that happened, I think one of you guys might have even said this to me, was I think the fact that, we did spring ball so early, and it was in the middle of, Amy going to the NCAA tournament. It was in the matter of middle of the men's basketball team doing what they did, right? So, kind of that natural rhythm is basketball ends and then spring ball begins. The early spring ball, like for Anthony, being able to practice in the cold and the rain and the wet was vital. Getting that offensive line in there early and having them learn the schemes was vital. Getting the coaches on the same page. So I loved it. But then it just kind of left a void, I mean, and there's negatives to it, right? Like I get out of work at 5. I take a donor to the Knicks game. I spend my own money to get the donor there. I get the tickets. We sit with the GM and team president. I'm doing all this in the service of the university, and I'm getting killed on Twitter. But great. But I only say that because people bring it up to me. I'm like, you know what? You can say whatever you want. You can't say I don't work hard. So, and also got back that night. We were at the 6 a.m. workout the next day. So but you know what? Again, if you want to have 91,000 people in there, you have to deal with why are we doing it? I do it in other things. Like I sit there, I go back to Philly. I talk to my Eagles friends. It's like, can you believe they did this drill yesterday on team? It just makes it fun, right? So, but I don't think it was a concerted effort. I think the athletic department has my media rights now. Like they determine what I do. And so we did the podcast last year. We also have one of the best recruiting classes we've ever had. Is that related? I don't know. I know a lot of kids, a lot of parents, I walk down the street in Miami and people go like, hey, you're the guy from McAfee, right? And I did that to get our message out there. We probably won't do those things this year. Maybe it'll be more player based. Just another hour of sleep for me. So I don't, but everything we're doing is just trying to figure out how to make our brand as marketable nationally as we can. And because those things matter, right? People are buying patches right now. That people are doing. All these things matter. And I'm just, what right, wrong, or different. I'm always trying to think 3 years out and say what if I do this now, even if people don't like it, what will that mean in 3 years? And to me, that's what a good steward of a place does.
There's a lot to chew on there. There is a ton. And I'd love to hear your thoughts, 531-895-0590, or you can email us, of course, as well at Nick590WOW and then Grant590WW. Also tweet at us at 590WOW. But it's so evident, and we'll hear it in other things that we play from this side session. He was very surly. I don't know if that's the right word. It's clear.
Punchy.
It's clear, and you heard Pat Fitzgerald say this in much more explicit terms on day 2 for Michigan State. We don't just have a chip on our shoulder. We have a whole bag of chips.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that it definitely feels like Matt Rule is in the same universe when it comes to having a chip on his shoulder, and it'll be interesting to see if the team plays the same way. I obviously point to the Knicks story that he laid out, the Knicks game story, as something that I don't know. I don't think he's frustrated with the whole fan base as a whole, but he was definitely trying to counteract some of the messaging out there over the course of this quiet offseason towards the, I guess you'd say, quote unquote, haters.
Anytime you say or have to remind people that you work hard, clearly it struck a nerve. Clearly some of the narrative, and I don't think Matt Rule would disagree with that. And I understand it, because this is the part about college football coaches that I do think people get caught up in. And this isn't just Matt Rule. This is college football coaches anywhere. Unless you are Curt Cignetti, unless you are running the table, you labeled Curt Cignetti over Big Ten Media Days as football Jesus, all right? If you have that type of admiration from your fan base and your colleagues and peers, yeah, you can go and do certain things off campus. You can go and do certain things at pro venues, and nobody's going to say boo because they just saw
winning
what you did.
Exactly.
Exactly. And I think even last year, what Matt Rule brought up about being on Pat McAfee, what Matt Rule brought up about the podcast and having those appearances, he's 1,000% correct as far as that is, I think, a very forward-thinking way of trying to promote your program and trying to think, as he said, the next 3 years ahead. But when you are probably what you say to your own players of try to avoid the criticism, try to not think too much about that. I think when you speak with the type of, again, I'd say a sort of a punchy tone yesterday when talking about that, saying, don't say I don't work hard. Clearly, he's trying to defend that. And I think anybody in their right mind understands that these guys put in ridiculous hours. I mean, they're there
no doubt.
Before the sun comes up. They're leaving long after the sun has gone down. We were talking to
Jay Moore. Was it Bill Callahan that literally slept in his office? Yeah. And that was in 2008. And I'm sure it's just the same now, if not more intense.
And I get it. I don't think this has anything to do with it, but the previous coach, there was a lot of questions on, was he making the most or the best use of his time as a head coach? And so maybe there's some sensitivity with the fan base that comes to that. But clearly, based on that soundbite and Matt Rule having to validate the fact that he's a hard worker, I think that struck a nerve. I know, I'm not going to speak for you. I know Matt Rule works hard. I think we all know that. But the bottom line is, when you are out in public and you're having a life, which all these coaches are entitled to have.
Yeah.
When you're having a life, there's always going to be those people that are thinking, anybody in leadership position are going to be thinking, should you really be doing that or figuring out how to stop the run? So you're never going to win. I found it very interesting that he brought that up though yesterday, where
the Knicks game.
Yeah, brought the Knicks game up. You could tell that pissed him off.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And I don't know. That surprised me that he went there on that, because usually he's always cool, calm, collected, and he usually understands that's just part of the gig. And he did reiterate, well, that's just part of the gig, but not without saying.
But that was the thing.
Don't say I don't work hard.
He wanted to get that out there, right? Like he wanted to be able to get that information out there, that he feels that way, and still couch, hey, look, that's part of the job. That's part of the job. What's beyond evident to me, you'll hear it throughout the rest of these, he's feeling the pressure, I think. Or at the very least, he's acutely aware of it. And it's either going to crack him in this administration this season or next, or it's going to make a diamond out of it. And we'll have to sit back and watch and see what happens.
We're going to sit back and take a break. When we come back, voice of the Huskers. We'll get back to this. And again, as Grant mentioned, if you want to weigh in on the conversation, 531-895-0590, 590WOW.com. Also, don't forget, we've got the app. You can listen to us on the app as well. Voice of the Huskers, Kyle Crooks, joins us right after the break. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Have you ever heard of lion's mane mushrooms? It's a mushroom that looks like a brain, and the supplement supports memory that may help with anxiety or depression. Also contains antioxidants and fiber that can support gut and immune health. Capsules of lion's mane are on sale all this month at both No Name Nutrition markets.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
Register to win a whole house generator from AM 590 WOW and Generators for Sale with the Generac Power Play giveaway. Log on to 590WOW.com and tell us what you want to protect when the power goes out, and you'll be registered to win a whole house generator installed at your home, valued at nearly $15,000. There's other great prizes too, like a portable generator and smart home devices. Don't be left in the dark. Register today and see contest rules at 590WOW.com.
Tired of aches slowing you down? 42 Degrees supports everyday wellness with trained, approachable staff and clear guidance on comfort-focused options. No guessing, no pressure. Learn more at 42degrees.com. Trusted by Mom.
The Summer of Performance event is going on right now at Acura of Omaha. Now it's time for you to take advantage of these low payment lease offers at Acura of Omaha, 4211 South 144th Street. Always open at AcuraofOmaha.com.
Boomstock is back, and we're celebrating 5 far-out years. Join Boomer Radio August 29th on the Gene Leahy Mall for Boomstock 2026. Enjoy an evening of classic 60s and 70s vibes with live music from Bozak and Morrissey, Touch of Grey, and The Raw Nerve. Plus food trucks, raffles, games, a full bar, and more. Presented by Mutual of Omaha and benefiting the First Responders Foundation and the Stevens Center. General admission is free. Upgrade to VIP at boomstock.org. Summer evenings just seem better when you have a home you truly love. Imagine relaxing on the patio, hosting the grandkids, or simply enjoying the peace and comfort of a beautifully crafted home designed for the way you live today, specifically for you. At Edward Custom Homes, our homes are maintenance-free, so you can enjoy company in your backyard. No mowing needed.
award-winning, maintenance-free homes at Edward Custom Homes in a growing Elkhorn community. Book your private tour at edwardcustomhomes.com.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for and there they go. Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the
right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Hey, just a reminder, next week, Thursday and Friday of the Pinnacle Bank Championship, when the tournament gets underway, we are going to be broadcasting live out there doing the show. One day on a golf course is not enough. We're going to do two. So Thursday and Friday, Pinnacle Bank Championship, the Corn Ferry Tour making its stop over at Indian Creek, the newly renovated Indian Creek. If you haven't seen it, it is absolutely gorgeous. And, of course, this great event has become a staple in the metro area out in Elkhorn. So be sure to check it out. Come by, say hi. I bet we'll have some swag, too. It'll be great. Yeah, it'll be great.
We might.
I'll tell you what. There was one person. It was fun being at Big Ten Media Days and getting to see a lot of our colleagues and a lot of people that I've worked with in the past and haven't seen in a long time, and you get a chance to interact with them. There was one person in particular, though, that was missing. And I'm a little bit mixed on this. That is voice of the Huskers, Kyle Crooks, who's kind enough to join us right now. But KC, my man, you were missed. In fact, there were at least a dozen people asking me where you were. Okay, it wasn't a dozen. But,
that's a lie. That is, now we talked about it. I think it might have been like like Zion one and done with the Big Ten Media Days. I mean, we did it last year. Part of my first phone call with Coach Rule, he said, I'd be happy to see you out at Big Ten Media Days. So then the decision was made. Okay, I'm going to Big Ten Media Days. But the way that we're structured, the week before we had internal media days, so we get a lot of these guys quite literally sent to our office to interview. So we didn't want to be redundant and get some of the same guys, do some of the same interviews, and we'll have Coach Rule a lot coming up. So we didn't want to force feed some of the same stuff we've been doing. So that's the reason that I wasn't there. I know it's a lot of excuses, but I know Chicago's nice. I've never been. I would enjoy some deep dish.
Whoa. That's a surprise. Would you been to Chicago?
Kyle, I know your diet, man. Would you really enjoy deep dish pizza?
Maybe a slice, maybe a slice, because you got to do it right. I remember I had growing up in New Jersey, we had Pizzeria Uno, which was like a chain version of Chicago deep dish, and we would go there every once in a while, and it pulled the heartstrings a little bit. But I have not had the true experience. I know, Nick. I mean, you're a Chicago guy. You're a big Bears fan, and I know you're holding on to the Bears, sticking around Chicago, and so it's been a tough time, probably a tough time looking at Soldier Field and maybe waving goodbye for the final time. But
it was,
I was good to, it's good to see you guys. And first things first, congratulations on the new venture. This is something that we've known from our vantage point that this was probably going to happen. And I texted you, Nick. I think you were away, but I was driving around. I was in Ames, Iowa for a concert, and 590 was as clear as day. It is a unique signal. It's the biggest signal on our network, and we are lucky to have you guys anchoring the whole thing with Afternoon Drive.
Hey, what was the concert?
It was Post Malone. Malone in Ames, Iowa. So it was the drive back. I mean, I didn't get back till 3 a.m., and it was a tough drive back. It's a unique stadium for sure. But it was cool because who knows when Nebraska will ever get back to playing a school like Iowa State again, right? And when would ever get to Ames, Iowa. So I guess it was good to experience something a little bit different outside of the Big Ten for me.
Kyle,
Go ahead.
I was curious. You touched on like talking to everybody just before Big Ten Media Days. What was the general affect that you sort of sense around this program right now heading into fall camp next week?
Confidence. There's a swagger to this bunch. Anthony Calandria is at the top of that list. Quasi Gilmer is at the top of that list. We had a chance to talk to probably 6 or 7 different guys for Sports Nightly interviews. We did talk to Justin Evans too, and I know he was out at media days. We're trying to get him out of his shell a little bit. And I know Nick's talked to Justin about he's a big cook, big into food, and wants to do a cooking podcast eventually. I know that was a conversation that Nick had with Justin back then. So we get to know these guys a little bit more. We had every single one of them. Essentially, if you're on the Too Deep, they did a radio liner for us. So we got a chance to talk to the Owen Chamblises of the world. What a mature guy in Owen Chambliss. But I think back to your question, Grant, I think confidence. Anthony Calandria has a swag about him that's unique, that is necessary for a place like this. Let's face it. I mean, it's a fishbowl around here. It's hard to take the amount of criticism that you will that position. Just ask Dylan Raiola, ask all the quarterbacks before him. You're one of the more recognized faces in the entire state, and that can be tough for somebody. I don't think it's going to be tough for somebody like Calandria, who has a swagger about him. But the good thing is he has a lot of experience. We were going through this yesterday, and we were talking about the quarterbacks and the whole Kenny Minchie situation on Sports Nightly. The reality is maybe you made out a little bit better, and we'll find out once we compare and contrast stats towards when Kentucky's season and Nebraska's season is done. But Minchie's only played 10 career games, has never started a single game, and that's clearly not the case with Calandria. Has plenty of experience, was a conference player of the year in the Mountain West, and there's a reason that he has confidence and has that swag about him. You see him in spring. I mean, he barks at the defense barks at him, but guys, there's a mutual respect between that side of the ball and a guy like Calandria, who just steps into a brand new locker room. And sometimes that's not easy to create, because people on the other side of the ball are going to say, look, I'm the alpha on this team, and they're going to bite back. But I think Calandria gets along with everybody in that locker room.
Voice of the Huskers, Kyle Crooks, joining us here on Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW. You talked momentarily there about the fishbowl as it pertains to Calandria and anybody who's played that position. Matt Rule's comments yesterday were interesting, because he was talking about a little bit more of the offseason yesterday, and he had mentioned the Knicks game, and he tried to remind people, don't say that I don't work hard. There's been a little edge to him, as much as you're going to see from Matt that he's going to let out. I think I described maybe some of the tone sort of punchy. I get it. I think there's a lot of us who do get it. I know you've had interactions as well. What did you take away from just his presence yesterday and just what you've seen throughout the offseason leading up to fall camp?
He's just never chased from expectations, Nick. I mean, yesterday, one of the big lines that seemed to surprise people was, we didn't come to Nebraska to go 7-6. Of course not. He didn't come here to win, to be a just above 500 team. I mean, this is a place that's steeped in so much tradition and history, but it comes with so much pressure. We've seen head coaches, we've seen players wilt under that pressure. I'll tell you this, I know exactly where Coach Rule's coming from. Works his tail off. I interviewed him for the spring game, his pregame coach interview, and I walked in his office, and there was probably coffee cups from 4 weeks ago sitting on his desk with constant loop of film. I mean, the guy loves football. He loves college football specifically. He's a big relationships guy, and he's also has had to find ways to be a different kind of coach in this era, and how you create relationships and how you recruit, and whether you're doing podcasts or not. Him doing podcasts or him doing Pat McAfee becomes 17 different articles. I don't think that's the case in other places, right? But there's a method to the madness, I think, is the headline to all this and to everything that he does. And who knows if in the end it's going to work. I'll tell you what, it's not going to be from the lack of effort and the lack of strain that he puts on himself and how much he demands of his players, demands of himself. It's not going to be with any lack of that. And this team understands you're in your 4th year now. This staff is a little bit different. I think he's surrounding himself with guys who can maybe perhaps in certain areas control the room a little bit better. So we'll see how it all works out. But for him, he knows how pivotal it is this year. And that's why he doesn't want to talk about schedule. He wants to talk about how we get better on August 5th all the way up to September 5th and then take it one game at a time.
Kyle, one of the position groups that got a lot of run this week in Chicago was the tight end room, and certainly because of Luke Lindenmeyer making his return to this team for this season and, of course, representing Nebraska at Big Ten Media Days. But you had your interview with Carter Nelson that came out a week or so ago, and on top of that, Luke Sorensen got a lot of praise this week as well. Suddenly, it seems like that room is very, very crowded. What should the expectation be for the fan base from that group of players?
Yeah, I mean, the expectation internally is probably high. Externally, there's a little bit of a prove it to that room. Luke Lindenmeyer, he had a career year. They didn't utilize him as much towards the end of the season. I would think that Dana and the way that this offense is going to be constructed with a guy in Calandry who can get outside the pocket, can waggle, can kind of bootleg, that you could utilize the tight ends and the flats in this kind of offense. And Luke Lindenmeyer's at the top of the list. Carter Nelson was never really healthy. Remember, guys, he had that offseason hip surgery heading into last year, so he never was 100% going into camp. And then he had an offseason shoulder cleanup surgery. So from all intents and purposes, he's a full go, and he's up to 250 pounds. He has that tight end build, 6'5", 250, local guy. Both, Luke and Carter are prides of this state. He's one of those guys that you look forward to having in a Husker uniform. And then Luke Sorensen, I think Luke Lindenmeyer had said yesterday that he's already as big and fully developed as Lindenmeyer is now, 6'3", 255. It just shows the national contingent in terms of how you go out and recruit. And Sorensen's a guy from Orange County, California. You bring him in here, and could he have an immediate impact? I think there's players that we haven't necessarily talked about. Eric Ingerson, who you see him in pads, he looks like a linebacker, a big guy but athletic. Danny King, they were high on him last year. Does he play a role? But you're looking at two guys that are the head of the snake, if you will, and that's Luke and Carter, who are not only guys that can play your traditional tight end, but Nelson can split out in the slot. You can move him around in the offense, and he's a gifted pass catcher coming from 8-on-8 football in high school. So there is a lot in that room, but there is a lot to prove as well once the games get going.
Did you get a vacation at all?
I went to New Jersey back for probably the start of July, around 4th of July, just to see family. I'm not going to the Caribbean. I'm not going to Punta Cana or whatever the kids are going on vacation these days. So I still don't see a whole lot of sun, but I try to not stare at any sort of charts or preparation for a week. And that's
Are they done?
Oh yeah.
Are their charts done?
Yeah.
I'm staring at them right now. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
The charts are done, Grant. You know how this grind goes. You know how the charts grind. Nick, you're the same way with prep, with baseball and all that stuff. You got to work ahead. So we're trying to set the base for Ohio. I just finished up setting up a template for Michigan State. So we've worked pretty far ahead. I've learned from last year. How do I find a way to be productive during this time?
Didn't you have those done? We were talking. It was right before the MLB draft. You had them done by then.
Yeah. I know last year I had them printed and ready to go at this point, but Ohio's a little bit of it's a tougher deal. They've had so much turnover. They have a first-year head coach. So I have to wait to even put their names on the board because I feel like there's too much that be changed around. But in terms of Nebraska, I had everything done and printed at this point last year, and they're pretty much done now. But once fall camp starts, you get to tweak certain things and see where guys might move.
When you come back, Maryland week, you'll come back before Maryland week. But Maryland week, I'm just giving you a heads up. DB told us, Damon Benning told us a story about Maryland week. He'll be on with us on Monday, your trip there last year. So I'm excited because I want to hear his version of the story on Monday and then your version of the story on Friday as we look back at that trip to State College from a year ago.
Yeah, it was something. It was starting with a disastrous dinner location at an old folks home to smashing his head into the window. I don't know if do you want this story now or you want it for another time?
We'll save it for Maryland.
Yeah,
Let's save it for
yeah,
Maryland.
we'll
That
save
was a
it.
great team.
I got you.
Yeah. And we know you got scolded by a stadium worker, or at least according to DB. Maybe it was DB who got scolded. I don't know.
I get a little over anxious. I like to take pictures of the stadium. Are you guys like me? I like an empty stadium.
Oh, I love an empty stadium. Yeah.
I like the calm before the storm. We always get there on a Friday, and Jess is yelling at DB, and Ben's trying to tell DB to be quiet and telling Jess to calm down. We're an interesting bunch when we go to set up for a booth on a Friday. But, it's a great group. But I love that Friday when we go to set up and everything's empty, quiet before the craziness starts.
Crazy. It's about to start Wednesday fall camp, man. Next time we talk, we'll actually have some practices going on, Casey. Appreciate you joining us. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the last few days of, I guess, the real free time, right?
Yeah. Congrats to you guys. What a huge accomplishment. Afternoon drive on an awesome station, and you guys deserve it. So keep kicking butt.
Appreciate you,
Thanks,
man.
Kyle.
It's Kyle Crooks, voice of the Huskers. I want to circle back to where we opened with, Grant, because I know you had a little bit more thoughts on it too, talking a little bit about that offseason and just rules overall tone. We'll do so again. 531-895-0590 if you want to weigh in on the conversation. It's Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW. Back after.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army Civic and Health Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
Imagine this. It's 7 a.m., you're late for work, and now your garage door won't open. Or worse, it's stuck open all day while you're gone. Suddenly, your home is wide open for the world to see. That's where Spring Kings come in. As the fast and friendly garage door experts, we don't just fix what's broken, we make sure it stays safe. Broken springs, worn cables, faulty sensors, we find it before it costs you having to deal with the neighbors seeing your treadmill turn clothes rack all day. Spring Kings Omaha. We would appreciate your vote again for Best of Omaha. Online at springkingsomaha.com.
Hi, this is Dave Navity. Starting August 1st, every Saturday, right here on AM 590 WOW, my show, Saturday Mornings with Dave Navity, is the place to be. We'll cover news, politics, current events, and anything else my brain decides to conjure up. One promise, it'll be entertaining, and it'll be the right way to start your Saturday morning. Starting August 1st, join me 6 to 9 every Saturday morning right here on AM 590 WOW.
Step out of the zone! Head into the action! When the whistle blows, you know where to go! Sports Talk's on fire, it's the hottest show! Breaking it down with the biggest plays, keeping you in the game every day! Step out of the zone! AM 590 WOW! Handley and Hansen, 2 till 6, bringing sports to you. Huskers headlines, opinions that score. Turn it up loud, you'll always want more. Step out of the zone. AM 590 WOW. Sports Talk Huskers.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
My name is Christy. They painted our whole house and they did some soffit work for us. I would highly recommend Kim. She is fantastic. She has a great eye for detail. Her crew was wonderful. Everything was clean when they left and it was fantastic.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now. The 7th annual Suburban Rotary Show and Shine has been rescheduled for August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F. Proceeds support Suburban Rotary's youth programs. Boomer Radio will be spinning tunes. Boxer Barbecue will be there with their food truck, and there'll be a split the pot raffle. Sponsored by Woodhouse Auto Family, Sonic, Security National Bank, Color Vision, and AM 590 WOW. Show and Shines from 10 to 2. Hope to see you August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F. When the power goes out, everything changes. Your comfort, safety, and peace of mind suddenly matter more than ever. That's why homeowners across the Midwest trust Generators for Sale. From expert guidance to professional installation, their team makes backup power simple. So when severe weather hits, life keeps moving without interruption. Generators for Sale. Power your home. Protect what matters most. Learn more at homegeneratorsforsale.com.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Hey, folks, starting next week, you'll have a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Huskers home opener on September 5th against Ohio, plus some tailgate passes and WOW swag. So be listening as we enter August tomorrow, throughout the month of August, for further details on that. Grant Hansen along with Nick Handley here on Handley and Hansen, 531-895-0590. We'll be playing Rule audio throughout the day today from his side session yesterday at Big Ten Media Days. If you've got takes or reactions to that, please give us a call, or again, email us, Nick at 590WOW.com and Grant at 590WOW.com. You can also watch us online. Visit the website. Again, that's 590WOW.com. You can watch us on YouTube there, or now on Twitter on our 590 Twitter page. Nick, I know I was teasing talking more about some side session clips that piqued our interest from yesterday, but I want to revisit something we were talking about, because as I was thinking about it as we were coming home yesterday and a little bit more today, I want to revisit the 7 and 6 comment from Matt Rule from the podium session yesterday. Could you go ahead and cue that up for us, Justice?
Hot button.
I don't know that you'll see. Moving forward, schools when they hire a coach caring about their experience. I think the number one thing they're going to worry about is what roster and what they're going to bring with them. Yeah, a coach. Like if Congress has the new one transfer, but then you can transfer if your coach leaves. There's going to be nothing more valuable than a coach with a good roster at whatever level, and there will be nothing more dangerous than a coach with a good roster that you might be tired of them. Getting rid of them, because the roster now, if they can't transfer, because they've already transferred once, they can then transfer. So I think the dynamics in terms of coaching hires and fires will be really interesting moving forward. I don't know how to play out, but as I talk to guys in the business, as they've had openings, they're looking at not the coach, not what the assistants he's bringing, how many players are they bringing? You know, Coach Signetti went to Indiana. He took most of his roster, right? Coach Chesney went to UCLA there. He took some of his guys. Matt Campbell left Iowa State. I think he took close to 35 or 40. So, that'll be, I think that'll probably be the most important thing moving forward.
The whole idea behind, I think that part of the clip there is interesting from the standpoint of the amount of coaching searches that Nebraska has now been in the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
That how many times have myself, everyone that has been on sports talk shows or members of the media, anybody, fans alike, have said, well, you got to get the big name. You got to get the experience guy.
Right.
I think Rule's right on. I think that it's a new era. And you brought this up the other day about Signetti and how you look at the types of coaches that come in compared to, maybe how we looked at it before of a guy like Signetti, and if you can be, is that a template? Is a blueprint? And I pushed back on this. I said no, because it is such an outlier that I don't think anybody can really look at that. But if there is something to take away from the Cignetti impact, is something very similar to that.
There's two models.
I think a lot of ADs are looking at this and exactly what Matt Rule said of not necessarily the experience, but what type of a coach do you have head coaching experience at whatever level, but what type of a roster can you bring over?
Can you bring everything too? Like not just the roster, but all the coaches that you had with you. So the scheme's the same. Everything's the same. So to me, there's sort of two models. And one we touched on yesterday when we were talking with Jake Butt about Wisconsin. There's two different models about coaching that I think are being heavily tested this season. The first is with Wisconsin, and that's let's not pay the buyout to hire somebody else and just invest the buyout in resources for the head coach. That's what Luke Fickell's doing in Madison. The other is Bob Chesney at UCLA and Eric Morris, formerly of North Texas, at Oklahoma State, where you're testing, again, the model that Rule's referring to there of we hire the coach, we bring the majority of his players, almost certainly in the case of North Texas, the quarterback along with you too, you plug and play in the exact same scheme and systems. So, I mean, those are three programs right there that I'm incredibly interested, apart from Nebraska, to see how things play out for them this year. People liked Bob Chesney a lot this past week.
Well, and remember,
a lot of buzz.
Deion kind of did something similar. Now, he didn't take as many from his previous stop, but two significant impact players over to Colorado. And look, they had instant success in that first year, at least for that first half of the season. So I know everybody's kind of pointing to Curt Cignetti and saying, okay, that's the model right there. Now, I think Curt Cignetti, his experience compared to Deion Sanders and just his overall reputation and presence and everything that comes with it is probably an apples and oranges sort of comparison.
Sure.
But he did come from an FCS school. He
Yeah.
did bring a handful, including two significant skilled position players over. One, yes, being his son, but Hunter was an absolute stud, could have played anywhere. And the fact that you have that type of immediate impact, I think this is a legitimate conversation of the direction when it comes to athletic directors making this type of decision. Do you value experience or the, quote, big name, or do you look at this type of
How many
model?
of the big names have really panned out? I mean, Luke Fickell, when he got hired at Wisconsin, originally you probably would have considered to be a big name. 5 years or longer than that.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
maybe you would have considered Scott Frost to
in
be
that
the big
coaching
name, the top
cycle-
name in the cycle. Jimbo Fisher was in that cycle, massive buyout.
Mhm.
Brian Kelly was the big name.
Yep.
Massive buyout, didn't work out in the end.
It's interesting because it was the Matt Rule coaching cycle with the Luke Fickell. Remember, Luke Fickell was all of a sudden at the 11th hour rumored to maybe possibly up for the Nebraska job.
Yes.
Then it was Matt Rule. But then you're like, people were pretty excited about Matt Rule. Not saying they didn't continue to be, but then within 24 hours, Wisconsin pulls it out like, oh, yeah, we got Luke Fickell.
Right.
And so I remember thinking, because it seemed like that Wisconsin roster was a lot more ready to win right then and there. That, to me, has been the biggest surprise, that Luke Fickell is essentially coaching for his job this season.
Well, I mean, they tried to put a square peg through a round hole. I mean, that was a large part of it. But I do, like, at the time, I remember saying those two guys are going to be tied together, their success, especially here, because they're two Big Ten schools. And, to this point, Nebraska has come out on top in that decision-making between Fickell and Rule. I do think, yesterday, Jake Butt made actually a pretty solid case in defense of Fickell, especially when you lay out the injuries that they've had to deal with at the quarterback position.
And the air raid approach early on, which is just very un-Wisconsin-like to begin with.
But they're gonna have to get that to click this year. I mean, you're right. He's coaching for his job.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I mean, there's a lot of interesting coaches in the Big Ten, but I just think that new way of evaluating coaches and how you want to bring in a new coach compared to the big name and the experience and all of that. Tony Romo, we do have a little bit of word from CBS on how they will handle that latest driving while intoxicated mishap. Also some NFL odds and ends as we wrap up hour number one. Don't forget, coming up in the 3 o'clock hour, we're going to talk some more college football. Scott Docterman and some more Matt Rule audio from yesterday as well. And one of the most bizarre contests that I'm all about, that's also coming up in hour two. It's Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW.
In July, fun takes flight at Blackbird Bend Casino. We're celebrating the 34th anniversary of the Omaha Tribe's entry into the gaming industry by giving away $48,000 on Friday, July 31st. Every 10 minutes, a guest will win $500 in cash. At 10 p.m., 2 guests will win $1,000 each, and 1 lucky patron will walk away with $34,000. Claim 1 free entry for the drawings daily on our kiosk and start earning additional entries now. Great gaming, delicious food, and friendly service are just around the bend at Blackbird Bend Casino near Ottawa, Iowa.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army Civic and Help Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
My wife and I were watching television one evening, and we saw an ad come on, and it was for Roof Max. So after I had 4 or 5 people out, he came out, and sure enough, it turned out to be a great process, especially being able to replace some of the shingles that came off. I'd be happy to give a recommendation. You guys do such an outstanding job, and I've watched you all the way through the process, and I just have nothing but praise for how careful and neat and really exacting crew was and what they did.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741.
Summer is so much more than just nice weather. It means taking out the boat or the golf cart or the Harley out of the garage. But when it's been a few months since those have started up, and they won't, that's where Action Batteries comes in. At Action Batteries, it all starts with us. Whether it's your car battery or your lawn and garden battery, we've been doing it all since 1982. So you can focus on having some fun this summer. Action Batteries Unlimited offers free installation of batteries in most vehicles. Find us at 79th and J Street or online at actionbatteries.com.
Are you frustrated with your current pharmacy? Well, you're not alone. There's a better way. VRX Pharmacy in Omaha, 1 block north of 90th and Dodge. I'm Charles Tomlinson, a pharmacist at VRX. We're not a chain, not a box store, but a locally owned community pharmacy that knows our customers. Plus, we deliver. We work with all providers, accept all insurances, Medicare and Medicaid. Call VRX today, a better way to get your medications.
Make the call, make the change today. VRX, the better way, the better way.
The 7th annual Suburban Rotary Show and Shine has been rescheduled for August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F. Proceeds support Suburban Rotary's youth programs. Boomer Radio will be spinning tunes. Boxer Barbecue will be there with their food truck, and there'll be a split the pot raffle. Sponsored by Woodhouse Auto Family, Hub International, Equity Bank, the Schubert and Lassett Group, and AM 590 WOW. Show and Shines from 10 to 2. Hope to see you August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F.
Here's your updated Metro weather outlook. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 82. Lows dip down to about 63. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Right now, 76. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki, and that's your updated Metro weather on AM 590 WOW. Online at 590WOW.com.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
All right, coming up in hour number 2, at 3 o'clock hour, I mentioned Scott Docterman going to be joining us from The Athletic at his final thoughts on Big Ten Media Days. Also, we will be talking about something that I'm really very, very happy that you brought to my attention.
Oh?
On a
yes.
contest that I'm really upset that we missed this during Big Ten Media Days as it happened, too.
Well, I mean, the actual contest itself wasn't taking. You'll
Well,
find out
I'm
more
glad
later.
the contest didn't take part.
No,
in the ballroom.
I'm glad we
Don't
avoided
worry.
that.
We'll get to
fill
that.
you in.
We'll get to that. Baker's making headlines, continuing to make headlines right now, too. We're going to get to that a little bit later on. But Tony Romo, we do have the word from I was going to say the NFL. It's not the NFL, though. It's actually CBS. His employers right now on that little mishap that Tony Romo had over the weekend out in Wisconsin. And CBS did announce that they have placed Tony Romo on leave following his arrest last week on suspicion of driving under the influence. He, of course, received 3 citations. This was the quotes.
And from the statement from CBS that Tony Romo is on leave from his role at CBS Sports until further notice. That's it.
All right.
Short and sweet.
Well, I mean, it looks like since they announced that they're elevating J.J. Watt into that analyst role, that he'll at least miss the first part of the season. I mean, I don't know if it's a permanent situation here. They're going to just completely cut ties with Mr. Romo or not, but certainly, again, at least for week one, it'll be J.J. Watt in the booth.
There was some, I'll admit, maybe not a lot of people felt this. I know I had some Romo fatigue. I never wish for something like that to take place. Obviously, thankful that everyone was safe in that situation first and foremost. But I always wonder with maybe potential Tony Romo fatigue that if CBS uses this to go a different direction, if they were necessarily feeling Tony Romo, because they're putting there's a heavy investment into Tony Romo, into that CBS partnership with Jim Nantz as well.
I mean, he just handed them a golden opportunity to make a change if that's what they want to do. Who knows?
He's
what?
I was just going to say,
you're out on him? Out on Tony Romo?
I got the shtick got old.
I
get he loves football, and I get he gets excited during a game, and that whole anticipating the play before it happened or calling the play before it happened. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, he's a genius!" And after a while, I was like, "Dude, can we just see the play?"
I've got a thing for so bad it's good.
Anyway,
so that's kind of where I come down on it. I think it is strange. He makes a lot of weird noises at weird times. There is part of that I enjoy, but I mean, it's certainly not it's not even close to my favorite, number one broadcast booth experience. Not even.
And close. I love Jim Nantz. So I could listen to Jim Nantz narrate my life. I could listen to Jim Nantz give me Masters breakdowns till I fall soundly asleep. And that's not because I think Jim Nantz is boring. I just think Jim Nantz is one of the consummate pros. I miss him in basketball. I miss him in college basketball.
Yeah, that is interesting too. Although Iron Eagle is great. Other NFL notes from yesterday: Deebo Samuel back to the 49ers on a 1-year deal. So another weapon for Kyle Shanahan and his offense.
Is that recycled junk? I'm just asking the question. Deebo Samuel.
Samuel?
Is it sort of recycled junk? Is it all right, cool, you get him, but what version are you getting in?
Well, that's obviously the question,
health,
yes.
The health of Deebo Samuel. What type of Deebo Samuel? Because, the first go-around with the Niners, he was an absolute stud and a huge weapon.
You bring him back right after, the issues with Ricky Pershaw again.
Yep.
He wasn't bad last year with the Commanders. I mean, 72 catches, 727 yards. That's more than 2 of the last 3 seasons with the 49ers.
Yep.
So he's just never hit the 21 form where he had 1,400 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. He's not found that again. And if I was going to pick any team, any coach out there that could possibly revitalize him, it's probably Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. But you're adding another aging, injury-prone piece to that offense.
Who?
And they're not counting on
Deebo
him.
or Kyle Shanahan?
Well, both, yeah, I guess.
Sorry, too soon.
But he's 30 years old, so I don't get the feeling, obviously, with the numbers that they put in front of him, that they're expecting a lot out of him.
No.
But you shouldn't. I mean, we'll just see. If anybody could revitalize him, bring him back, it's Kyle Shanahan. The Saints, they extend Chris Olave earlier. That was yesterday, but $132 million, up to $132 million on that contract for him.
Yeah, he's going to be a fantasy weapon for me.
Oh.
He helped me out in one of my
fantasy.
other fantasy leagues. He was a big weapon for me.
The quarterback position is and we'll talk to Michael Severe later today, actually, about this, probably. But the quarterback position is so suspect.
It is.
There that it's really hard for me. And I know he's like the offense, essentially, the only skill position player there. And that might be a little hyperbolic, but
I bet Michael
because the quarterback is just so mid-tier to bad, it's hard for me to get behind him, especially with early draft capital. Like a lot of people drafting him 3rd or 4th round last couple of years. I'm not sure where ESPN, the rankings have him for fantasy for this year.
He's still up there.
Really?
Yeah, he's still up there. I think, again, it's that whole idea of...
It's just hard.
So you're not a Spencer Rattler fan? Or what?
No.
Okay.
No.
Tyler Shugg does nothing for you?
Even less.
What about Zach Wilson?
Oh, my God. It's such a... Now, he had 1,000 receiving yards last year.
Yeah.
I mean...
He did.
He did produce at a very, very high level. But it's always hard, man, for me to be like, I don't know if I can get behind him. I don't know.
When you're the only target, sometimes
that does help.
Yeah, it can be very, very beneficial for those who have him in fantasy, but that's for another day because we haven't even come close to talking about fantasy football, although we will at some point here on Handley and Hansen. Speaking of which, hour 2 coming up. We're going to have some more Matt Rule audio from yesterday's Big Ten Media Day side session, 45 minutes with the head coach. Got a little bit agitated, or at least very passionate, maybe the better way to say it, about the schedule. We'll get into that. Also, Scott Dochterman, just around the corner. It's AM 590 WOW.
The legend has returned. Sports Talk Huskers. AM 590 WOW. Omaha. This is Sports Center.
I'm Ed Benkin. Training camp continues in the NFL, and the Packers welcome back their starting tight end. Tucker Kraft has been taken off the PUP list. He is recovering from a torn ACL suffered 9 months ago. He was limited with individual drills today. Atlanta quarterback Tua Tagovailoa proceeding cautiously while dealing with what is being called a tweak in his back. There's no timetable when he'll get back to full practice. Meanwhile, Baker Mayfield is healthy but looking for a new contract. Senior writer Albert Breer was on the Rich Eisen show on ESPN Radio earlier and talked about what kind of deal would make sense for both sides.
I think Goff is a good comp, don't you? I mean, the Lions got him at a cut rate. He had to play on that cut rate for a few years, and then they gave him 55, right? Like, I think Baker's well within his rights to ask for something like what Goff got.
Mayfield has 1 year remaining on his current deal. In baseball, bottom of the 7th at Wrigley, the Yankees lead the Cubs 2-0. The two teams play again tomorrow night. The game can be heard on ESPN Radio. College basketball, Wichita State has given head coach Paul Mills a 3-year extension.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Losing someone you love is never easy. During life's most difficult moments, having caring people by your side can make all the difference. At Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, you'll see compassion in every face and feel comfort in surroundings filled with light, love, and cherished memories. For traditional funerals, cremation, personalized tributes, or veteran services, Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services. Locally owned with 2 convenient locations, North 90th and the newly expanded chapel at 82nd and L. Learn more at gsfuneral.com.
Hi, my name is Ty, and I recently was told that I needed to get a new roof by 2 different contractors. I was freaking out considering that my roof wasn't even that old, but I saw a commercial on Roof Max, and I give them a call and have them come out and look at the roof. They came out. They said I was eligible for the Roof Max product that actually rejuvenated the shingles and makes my roof look like it's a brand new roof that was just recently put on. I would recommend Roof Max to anyone.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741.
With school just around the corner, don't forget to buy Nordic Naturals DHA products. DHA is essential for normal brain and eye development, and it may help attention, behavior, and reading. And these supplements are on sale the whole month of August at No Name Nutrition Markets. Available in capsules, gummies, and liquid form.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
I'm Nancy, Jill of All Trades. Oh, Kim is amazing. She's on our 4th project with me. I feel like she's done my whole house. She's something different than a lot of other contractors out there. She cares, and she'll work 27 hours a day if she could. Oh, I'm just so happy with Kim and Jill of All Trades. I just keep going back. There's nothing that she can't do.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now. When the power goes out, everything changes. Your comfort, safety, and peace of mind suddenly matter more than ever. That's why homeowners across the Midwest trust Generators for Sale. From expert guidance to professional installation, their team makes backup power simple. So when severe weather hits, life keeps moving without interruption. Generators for Sale. Power your home. Protect what matters most. Learn more at homegeneratorsforsale.com.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Hope everybody's having a great Friday here in the great city of Omaha. It's good to be back after 2 fun days in Chicago.
Man, they were great.
They were great. Big Ten Media Days. I personally, because I love Chicago, especially in the summer, and the weather out there was really fun. I wish we had more time to be around there. I even told you when we were leaving, I wish we were staying for a weekend because it's just fun. There's a good energy in the city. Everyone's walking around, all good stuff. You've got, the White Sox were playing the Yankees while we were there too. So there was all kinds of fun stuff going on. I prefer Indy and Chicago. Just rotate those two, doing the Vegas thing. I'm sure at some point they'll probably go out to L.A. I would assume.
They almost have to, right?
Unless Vegas was as west as they'll go, maybe that's. But I don't know about you. I think you're younger, but I know you go to Vegas more with the Omaha Supernovas. I'm one of those guys that I'll do Vegas and then I'm good.
2 days,
and then I'm good for a while.
Anything more than 2 days in Vegas is too much.
Where else have they had it? I'm trying to remember. Vegas, Indy, Chicago. No, not Minneapolis. Is that it? I feel like I'm
just
missing
those
a place.
two is probably enough. Like
I wonder
Indy,
if they'd ever do it in
Chicago.
Detroit, like ever do it at like Ford Field.
Oh,
kind of like how they set it up at
It doesn't
Indy at
feel
Lucas
like
Oil.
Ford Field is like Big Ten turf though. For whatever reason, I don't have
which
that
is
association.
which is
for me as
crazy
you
though
do with Lucas
because
Oil.
Ann Arbor is 20 minutes away.
Sure,
East Lansing is about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours away. So it would make sense from a standpoint if you're trying to hit some of the major like Midwest markets, Big Ten markets, and be on display there. But
I think they'll stay central like that.
if
Chicago
keep it in Chicago and Indy.
And I mean, large parts of my association with Chicago are with plane delays. So
we almost had one.
I don't have a lot of positives so far. I'm hoping to build more. Although I can't remember which player it was. We were talking with him about like culture shock a little bit of like being here.
It was
I
Andrew
think
Marshall.
It was Andrew Marshall. Yeah. I kind of experienced that a little bit too, just in the specific context of what he was talking about, which was there's just people out there all the time.
Have you been in New York City?
Every time. No.
Okay.
I'm sure it's sure it's another degree up from there.
It's a much bigger eye opener.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I was early 20s, the first time I ever went to Chicago, actually, I think it was 19, as far as like with friends and out and about. And that's where, you get caught kind of looking up at the buildings and all the people going by. It's very overwhelming. I've been dozens of times since, but the first time I was ever in New York City was actually not that long ago. It was one of the baseball trips to Rutgers, and Ben and I went into the city, and I think I was maybe 40 at the time, 41 at the time, and I remember having that same type of like, whoa, oh my gosh,
yeah,
this is crazy.
I think they could maybe do it in LA. I don't think they would ever do it in New York. Maybe one time, but like you're doing that, you're doing it for Rutgers in Maryland.
Jim Delaney would.
You know, I mean, you could do LA for UCLA, USC, and Oregon / Washington, but I don't think they would do New York ever. Anyway,
scheduling Big Ten Media Days. Matt will continue. Well, he's not right now. He's done talking, but he continued to talk. Again, 45 minutes with the head coach yesterday. There was a lot to really chew on. He did talk about, and this was, I think, really a big part of the offseason narrative with Nebraska. If they are to not take a step forward from a year ago, it would be because this schedule is, quote, very, very challenging. Very challenging by, I say quote, I don't know who quoted that, but we're all talking about it. And this was Matt Rule's thoughts and somewhat pushback on the topic.
How would you talk to him? Like, I mean, what do you want to say? No, like, if yeah, but like what's out there, like Coach Snow went off on one of our coaches' meetings. He goes, if I hear another guy talk about our schedule, if I hear one person in this building talk about our schedule, get out. Like, guys, this is the same schedule we use to recruit these players. Like, we sat there with these guys and we're like, hey, come to Nebraska. We get to play Oregon this year. We get to play Ohio State this year. We get to play Iowa this year. We get to play Indiana this year. Come, like, I mean, I will never, ever. Now, if there's things within the schedule I don't like, I will talk to you guys. Know I'll talk about that. Like going to the East Coast and coming back and playing a Friday game. That's ridiculously silly. Given Lincoln Riley, who I think is one of the best coaches in the world, giving him a bye week before us the last 2 years, like, why are we doing that? And I say that respectfully in my Big Ten, but in the Big Ten's adjusting to this new schedule, right? Like they're doing a great job of like, hey man, this travel, but yeah, they're all nameless, faceless opponents to me, right? Like at the end of the day, like we start doing that. And I'll tell you what's also about college football. Like some of the teams that we think aren't going to be very good are going to be great. And some teams we think are going to be great aren't going to be as good, right? I mean, no one knows with the portal who everyone is.
That last bit is an interesting thing to throw into this discussion, especially when you consider, okay, well, Nebraska is playing 1, 2, 3, and 7 in the preseason Big Ten poll that we had earlier this week. Yeah. But you know that there, one, could be a team that could be worse on there, or you could have a situation where you end up facing a team like Indiana a couple of years ago. You think about that season for Matt Rule, nobody was projecting the Huskers to go to Bloomington and fall flat on their face the way that they did, or rather just get beat soundly the way that they did by the Hoosiers. And while it doesn't seem like there's really a team on there, maybe it's Michigan State. I mean, I was thinking that through right now, like all that are on Nebraska's schedule, is there a team out there that would make sense to suddenly be more difficult than we expect right now? And I think Michigan State would have to be the team that you would consider. But the good thing, as you mentioned yesterday, Nick, for Nebraska, is they get them early. That's the first Big Ten conference game for the Spartans. If you had Michigan State in November, a couple of years ago, then you feel certainly, I think, a little bit different.
Yeah, and this is, I wanted to go back on, since Nebraska has been in the Big Ten and the record against the current Big Ten slate, and then I'm like, well, you've had some change. You've had the addition of the USC, UCLAs, Oregons, and Washington. So I just want to go back to the last 5 years with the current teams that Nebraska has on the 2026 conference schedule slate. And this is, I don't know if this number is going to be surprising to people or not, but Nebraska is 4-11 against the teams that they currently have. In the last 5 years, that is 4-11. They're 0-4. This is the other thing. In 2021, they were 0-4 against the teams that are on there: Illinois, Michigan State, Ohio State, Iowa. 2022, the only team that they had was Rutgers. They were 1-0. They beat them. 23, 2-1. 24, 1-4. The only one they had was against Rutgers. They lost to Illinois, Indiana, Ohio State, Iowa. 25, 0-2, Maryland and Iowa. So when you look at the totality of that conversation right now, and you look at mainly, here's the other kind of eye-popping one in the last 5 years. Two teams in particular, Iowa and Ohio State. In the last 5 years, Nebraska's 1-6. Oof. Against everyone else on that schedule, going into 2026, they're 3-5. So I just try to put numbers to why people are talking about it. But I mean, Matt Rule's
right.
He's not wrong.
Well, that's the approach they have to take.
Exactly.
I mean, he can't walk up there and say, we're 3-5 against Illinois, and this schedule is very tough, and that's the end. No, because you can't think about that. I mean, so that kind of comes back to one of the things we were laying out earlier in the week, in that there's not a lot you can say at this point.
No, and I'm glad he did. And this is what I always appreciate about Big Ten Media Days, whether it's a coach or a commissioner. We talked a little bit about Tony Petitti really trying to lobby and some of the other coaches for the 2014 playoff. Give me something to maybe not to all of a sudden gravitate to and say, oh, okay, now I feel better about this. But give me something else to think about. Matt Rule did that. On that answer there, talking about this is how we recruit. Schedules
Right.
like this,
Right.
it's easy for the common fan or even us to look at it and be like, damn, this schedule is a bear. And on paper it is. And I gave you a little context there, numbers-wise, of why it is. But they don't look at it that way.
They can't.
Absolutely.
No. I mean, that's the biggest thing is they can't look at it that way.
But they can also use it. That's the thing that I think is always a good reminder, though. And kind of going back to what Matt Rule, with the audio we played earlier about the offseason, I've always tried to think 3 seasons ahead.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you're taking that, and whether he believes it wholeheartedly or not, that this schedule is a good thing, either for the here and now, because as I mentioned last week, they've got opportunities. There's at least some opportunities that you can overachieve. But if you don't, you're still able to be very attractive with the teams you play when it comes to talent acquisition.
Right. Well, it's I think it's Jared in the chat there. Competitors like to compete against the best. Like, that's what you want. I mean, you don't want the type of person that would shy away from that. So, I mean, it's kind of not the most completely revealing answer, but it's confirmation at least that they're looking at it the way that they're supposed to be looking at it. But you know, like, that's the right mentality that you have to take. You have to take that mentality going into this season because there's no other option.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you take anything else other than that, it's weak and you're going to lose. I mean, this is the only approach.
I always feel like there's a line, or there's at least a moment when Matt Rule has been the Big Ten Media Days where he says something and it kind of strikes a chord in a good way, or at least gives that sort of, okay, good on you. You took maybe one of the biggest things that Nebraska fans are concerned about collectively with the season, the schedule, and you turned it into a positive, but it wasn't like trying to sell me something that is just completely not there. Obviously, that is a good selling point for recruits. So good on Matt Rule to at least remind us this is how we look at it. I can respect that. All right, coming up, we are going to talk to Scott Docterman. He was out at Big Ten Media Days covering not only the Iowa beat, but the Big Ten beat for the Athletic. We'll get his takeaways. Also, Oregon has some fun stuff going on. I can't wait to get to that. It's all still ahead. It's Handley and Hansen here at AM 590 WOW.
Feeling stiff, sore, or worn down? 42 Degrees may be able to help. Their knowledgeable team listens first and explains wellness-focused options for everyday comfort with no pressure. Learn more at 42degrees.com. Trusted by mom.
Superior Honda of Omaha has immediate openings for highly motivated new and used car sales professionals. High volume, great benefits, incredible support. Apply online at HondaofOmaha.com or call Eric Curtis at 402-612-9126.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
LeBron James, in the final chapter of his career, trying to do something that no player in the NBA has ever done. Win 4 championships with 4 different teams. It is boom or bust. He's going somewhere with no history and an attempt to win. If he does it, we're talking about his legacy on a completely different tier. If he doesn't do it, he tried to chase a ring in his final chapter and he failed.
Unsportsmanlike every weekday morning, AM 590 WOW.
Step out of the zone! Head into the action! When the whistle blows, you know where to go. Sports Talk's on fire, it's the hottest show. Breaking it down with the biggest plays, keeping you in the game every day. Step out of the zone. AM 590 WOW. Handley and Hansen, 2 till 6, bringing sports to you. Huskers headlines, opinions that score. Turn it up loud, you'll always want more. Step out of the zone. AM 590 WOW. Sports Talk Huskers.
Omaha is a sports town, and if you haven't experienced the Omaha Supernovas, this is the season. General Manager John Cook has assembled a roster built to bring another championship to Omaha, featuring former Husker Merritt Beeson, Creighton's Kiara Reinhardt, and stars from around the volleyball world. Join Nova's Nation for all 13 home matches at CHI Health Center starting this January, and experience the loudest, most electric atmosphere in professional volleyball. Secure your season tickets today at supernovas.com and join the world's #1 professional volleyball fan base.
Have you been to Deer's Farm lately?
We may not be the biggest dealership around, but we strive to be the best. And Fremont agrees. We've been honored with 9 Best of Fremont awards, including Best Place to Work, New Car Dealer, Pre-Owned Car Dealer, Locally Owned Business, Tire Store, Auto Repair, Glass Repair, Body Shop, and Best Oil Change. See why so many drivers choose Deers Ford Lincoln. Visit us today at deersford.com, Fremont's best award-winning dealership.
Have you been to Deers Ford lately?
It's Gorilla Car Wash, where it's high-pressure soapy water. Nothing touches your car but high-pressured soapy water. Jeff Ballinger here. What are customers saying?
You know, Jack, I get to some of the locations, I try to get to the locations on a daily basis, and I was talking to some customers the other day, and they'll tell you what's on their mind. And they say, we love the fact it's touchless, we love the fact that we can come 24/7, and we love the fact it's local, that you got folks give back to the community.
8 locations, and to find one near you, go to
GorillaWash.com.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and like listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine. Like if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us. But try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at sounditouttogether.org. That's sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen. Give us a call and share your thoughts. 531-895-0590.
3 days in Chicago, Big Ten Media Days wrapping up yesterday. The Iowa Hawkeyes, one of the first out of the gate on Tuesday. Scott Docterman with The Athletic was there for all 3 days, covered not only all things Iowa, but also all things college football in Big Ten. Scott, I don't want to say I was giving you crap because I saw you like right in front of us after I texted you, and I'm like, gosh, did I tick off Scott Docterman? And then I get the text. So we're driving back in a monsoon coming back from the airport yesterday in Omaha. And all of a sudden I see your text and I'm like, yeah, see, that's more like Scott. So I was worried that I had upset you. I would have loved to have sat down with you.
Oh, I apologize. The Big Ten Media Days, since I've taken on this role of kind of overdoing most of the Big Ten, is just, I'm like a pinball in a pinball machine. I'm bouncing around everywhere trying to get as much information about as many teams as possible. So sometimes I'm not really checking my phone all that often, and I apologize, but I'm happy to be on with you guys today. Too bad I couldn't have done it in person. If you probably would have like flicked my ear or something, I'm sure I could have sat down with you.
You were within arm's reach. I didn't even think of that. That would have been fun, but no, I totally understand. I mean, especially with all fronts that you're covering, I do want to start kind of on the bigger picture and then work our way into Iowa. The college football playoff was a major discussion, obviously, with the expansion or potential expansion to 24. And I still was very surprised that every coach had that unified stance for the most part of 24. And I thought maybe not even as surprised they all had the unified stance, but I thought they all at least made somewhat compelling cases on why it could benefit each institution that they represented. What did you take away from just that overall conversation?
Yeah, really since the spring, the Big Ten has been in lockstep on this. And the one school that had, I would say, just a little bit of a tepid response was Ohio State, because if a 12-team playoff was in place the last 12 years, Ohio State would have made it every year. So it's like, it doesn't really benefit us. We would be in there, and if they're not, it's a really bad year for the Buckeyes. But that said, Ryan Day has said before, look, it's good for the Big Ten, and if it's good for the Big Ten, it's good for us. And I think that's where they're sitting with this. But I think the compelling case is for maybe the middle tier of the Big Ten. That schools that if you get to 8 or 9 wins, you're in that conversation. And when you get into that conversation for the last 3 weeks or so of the season, it really defines your season and allows so many different things to happen that I think is powerful and important for the program. I mean, if you take a game, say, between Minnesota and Illinois or something, with like the third week left, maybe they both only have 3 losses at that point. That's a winner take all game to the potentially get to the tournament, and so it heightens the stakes. There's probably certainly more people are interested, more people are probably attending. It maybe gets bumped up a little bit more on TV, so there's better ratings, and I think it gives people more of an opportunity. I mean, you look back at even the Black Friday game last year. I believe Nebraska was both teams were 7-4, I want to say, at that time. And if if in Iowa would ended up number 23 in the final CFP poll, so that could have been an opportunity for the winner to put themselves into the playoff. And instead of, okay, who gets to go to Tampa, who gets to go to Vegas, or who gets to go to Charlotte or Nashville, and it's such a different vibe. And I think that's what the Big Ten is seeing, to top it off. Like last year, 35 different teams had 3 losses or less. Power 5 teams had 3 losses or less with 3 weeks left to go in the season. And I think if you're going to just throw away your final quartile of the season and say it doesn't matter to 25 of those teams, then I think you're fighting for the wrong reasons. And the Bulls were great. They're an important part of college football history, one that I cherished and loved. But that's just not the number one consideration for teams these days. It's to get to the playoff, and if you provide enough.
Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to disconnect with Scott. We're getting some. That was like a cyborg there. Justice, I'm sending you Scotty Doctorman's phone number. We're going to finish this one over the phone because, man, and Scott's awesome. I absolutely love listening.
It was
to Scott
great.
Doctorman.
It was great. Someone texted me. He said it sounded like Scott was getting abducted by aliens.
It did, like burp, 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 burp. So
we'll get it back on here.
Yeah, I am. I'm sending you that right now.
I think the idea of the one part of the 2014 playoff that is attractive to me is sort of the idea of moving the whole postseason up and beginning where we now start conference championship week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That to me, and wrapping by the end of January, like that to me is the one piece of this that actually makes a lot of sense. I've heard interesting arguments regarding adding more intrigue to games in November.
Mm-hmm.
I just, I think it was it John Fanta on Tuesday that was telling us there's probably about 8 teams each year that you think can actually win the thing. Whole thing.
We've gotten to that point.
He made a good point as well, saying like we've been at 12 for 3 years.
Yeah.
Like we need more data points in this thing to be able to say, okay, the first round and second round games, there've been some real duds in there. Is that just bad luck of the first 3 years?
Right.
Or is it a situation in which look, there's only about 8 teams each year that can actually compete for this thing. So like that's what we still need to discover, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think we're efforting, Scott. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, we will be rejoined by a clean phone line with Scott Doctorman. I know he's on the road. He's making his way over to Peoria, I believe, right now, too. So we're going to talk to Scott Doctorman, but we'll just join him on the phone. So we'll step aside when we return, continue our conversation with Scott from The Athletic as we continue here. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Hey, it's Wingy for Rebath, and I think the funnest part of blowing their horn, which I have for over 2 years, is you don't have to spin a narrative. Their reputation, their work speaks for itself. I mean, not only are they the gold standard, that's all they do, bathrooms, and if you'll permit me a cliche, Rebath is a one-stop shop for everything from design to demo and installation. Come on, you've been toying with the idea, and once it's finished, you'll wonder, why didn't I do this sooner? Rebath.com.
Say aloha to bold island flavor at Hawaiian Bros. Surf the savory wave into juicy huli huli chicken, luau roasted pork, spicy kilauea, or Molokai chicken. Then chill it down with a light and refreshing Dole pineapple soft serve. Hawaiian Bros offers catering and group meals, making it easy to impress your guests without the work and let the luau begin. Now in 3 Omaha locations, it's never been easier to take your taste buds on a mini vacation at Hawaiian Bros and eat like you're on island time. Hawaiian Bros, serving summer to Nebraska year-round. Now open in Elkhorn.
On the upcoming edition of the Great Outdoor Radio Show here on AM 590 WOW, we'll give you some hot tips for your summer fishing. Special guest, Nebraska fisheries biologist Daryl Bauer. You know him. Daryl joins me, Greg Wagner, and you 9 to 10 Saturday morning here on AM 590 WOW. The Great Outdoor Radio Show is presented by Cubby's Convenience Stores, Daniel's Produce, Host Coffee, and Stoysich House of Sausage.
Boomstock is back, and we're celebrating 5 far-out years. Join Boomer Radio August 29th on the Gene Leahy Mall for Boomstock 2026. Enjoy an evening of classic 60s and 70s vibes with live music from Bozak and Morrissey, Touch of Grey, and The Raw Nerve. Plus food trucks, raffles, games, a full bar, and more. Presented by Mutual of Omaha and benefiting the First Responders Foundation and the Stevens Center. General admission is free. Upgrade to VIP at boomstock.org. Summer evenings just seem better when you have a home you truly love. Imagine relaxing on the patio, hosting the grandkids, or simply enjoying the peace and comfort of a beautifully crafted home designed for the way you live today, specifically for you. At Edward Custom Homes, our homes are maintenance-free, so you can enjoy company in your backyard. No mowing needed. Award-winning, maintenance-free homes at Edward Custom Homes in a growing Elkhorn community. Book your private tour at edwardcustomhomes.com. Welcome back to Handley and Hansen. Give us a call and share your thoughts. 531-895-0590.
Back with you, AM 590 WOW, Grant Hansen and Nick Handley. And now we go to the phone line, 531-895-0590, where we await the return of the great Scott Docterman, who I think we've now freed of the demons or whatever was possessing his phone earlier. So thanks for being patient with us, Scott.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Apologize for that. I'm driving in west central Illinois right now. I pulled over at a stop, and apparently the stop had some demons crawling out, so it's best for me to be on my way here.
Scott, I was going to ask you about the Hawkeyes here, and just some of the narratives that have trickled its way over to this side of the state and what Kirk Ferentz has to put together this year. 27 seniors lost from last year's team, 10 seniors on the roster this year, a whole mess of NFL draft picks, only 3 starters back on the defense for 2026. Like, is that being made too much of, or how challenging is this reload for Kirk Ferentz?
I think it's a reload. I think they have the potential to be good, but I think there is a lot of uncertainty there, in which kind of allows them to be, I would put them at kind of where they are record-wise is kind of my projection for them right now. They have 2 areas to me where I think there is some legitimate concern, and that's quarterback, of course, and defensive line, because they lost, 6 of their top, all 4 starters, and a total of 6 of their main rotational players up front on defense. And for a developmental program like Iowa that really likes to have players in their system for a number of years before they really see the field in that position group, it is a concern there. They do have a talented core, though, a lot of sophomores. I mean, there's like 8 sophomores on the defensive line, that both guys that they have and then some that they brought in, that they feel really good about, but they're still young and unproven and inexperienced. And so I think overall that they actually have some pass catchers for a change. That's a new wrinkle at Iowa. People catch the ball, and their holdovers on the offensive line. Granted, they lost 3 to the NFL, and all 3 were terrific, but they probably have to bring back their best 2. And then they feel like the stagger is good enough at Iowa, where a couple of those guys that are back were playing rotational snaps at times, and they've got a real deep running back field. And then on the defensive side, they like their secondary. There's a new middle linebacker who probably is in that same cut as a Josie Jewell, Jay Higgins, Jack Campbell mode. His name's Cam Buffington, and so they should be solid at linebacker. It's just a matter to me if their defensive line can perform, and can their quarterback make the makeable plays and allow their playmakers on offense, and there are a few, to actually do the ball when they get the ball in their hands to do something with it. If that's the case, then this team will be very competitive for an upper level Big Ten finish. If not, they're probably mired in that 8-4 realm. And but the one thing about them is they only have 6 guys on their final year of eligibility. So whether this is the last big push for Kirk Ferentz at Iowa or not, it remains to be seen. But there is certainly a push for not just 2027, but 2028.
I know in the Big Ten, maybe one of the more overlooked stories or under the radar stories in just the entire Big Ten was the move from LeVar Woods going from Iowa to Michigan State. And we know when it comes to that third phase for Iowa, special teams has been as good as there is in the conference, and in most cases in the country. What's the outlook? I know Kirk Ferentz talked a lot about that and really kind of put it on the players, but what does that look like transitioning away from LeVar Woods?
It is a difficult replacement for Iowa, compounded by a lot of the changes at that position group, the difference makers that they had there. So it's going to look completely different. Chris Polizzi, who has worked with Iowa before as a defensive backs coach and kind of fits a description that you might want as a special teams coach, but you can't replace LeVar, his experience. He's one of the best guys I know, and not only in sports, but in life. And you throw that in there with losing Drew Stevens, who's been rock solid for them for 4 years. Caden Legent, who statistically is the best punt returner in Big Ten history. And they lose their punter who followed LeVar to Michigan State. Those are huge losses for a program that prides itself by winning games in the margins. And that's something like making sure you cover a punt so successfully that there's no return. That forces the offense to have another first down against a really good defense. Or conversely, your punt returner can return it 20 yards instead of 10, and then that way that gives you an extra first down on offense. And when you're successful at coffin corner punting, which they have been in the past, or kicking 53-yard field goals in the final seconds of the game, which they've been successful in overall, they've got a lot to replace there. And that if they can't get even, I don't know if they'll be as good as they were last year in those areas, but if they can't reach a happy point, then that's going to be a real difference maker for Iowa in some of the close games they play, because there's no question in the past when they've won by a field goal, and Nebraska's been on the other side of that so many times, that it's those plays made in the special teams area have really determined the difference between winning and losing.
Scott Docterman with us here on Handley and Hansen. It's AM 590 WOW. Scott, when's the last time you heard Kirk Ferentz go out on a limb for a player like he did, or at least at the very least a receiver like he did for Tony Diaz this week?
I had to hear that secondhand because I was running around. I think it was talking to PJ Fleck at the time. But when I did, I'm like, are you kidding me? You're going to really hype somebody that's never played a down for you, and he's a transfer no less, and from University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. But we've heard a lot of good things about him in the spring. I've kind of been, when it comes to Tony Diaz, kind of a little bit like, show me. I've seen this. I've heard this before. I'm not going to buy in until I actually see it. But now that Kirk's talking about it, maybe I have to, because they got 2 other pass catchers who I think will be really good for Iowa. I think DJ Benami could be the best tight end in the Big Ten. He played really well late last year. He was a redshirt freshman. He was a walk-on from Western Iowa. His hometown's way closer to Nebraska than it is to Iowa City. Yet he came in, bulked up. He was a quarterback. He moved to the tight end and turned out to be a really good player for them last year. And I think he's got a chance to be like an all Big Ten caliber guy as a sophomore. And Reese Vandersee made some catches late in the season after missing half the season with a stress fracture in his foot. And I think he's a big, solid, tough wide receiver. And they bring back their original starting tight end who tore his Achilles in week 2. So now that you add that, plus a guy that Kirk is hyping at wide receiver, you're like, well, is this the same team I've been covering all these years? But it is, and they have a different system. They have a different coordinator. Tim Lester's done a really good job with that unit, and they averaged almost 30 points a game last year. So it's not the same old Brian Ferentz run, punt, and hook your defense holds you and so you can win 10-7. It's not the same kind of offense they have there anymore.
I got to ask the obligatory Kirk Ferentz question when it comes to the offseason, too. Any indication of his overall timeline? The longest tenured college football coach in the Big Ten as well. And you look at everything that he has done. I know it was kind of interesting hearing him talking about some of the things that he liked about the NFL when he was talking about the current college football game. But he said, I have no ambition of ever going back to the pro game. But do you ever sense that, this is the year or the next couple of years? Has there been any hint or any indication? You've covered this program and Kirk Ferentz for a while. Any indication of when they might start thinking about that type of transition?
I think he's on a year-to-year situation right now, but he's given no indications of slowing down. If nothing else, this program is healthier than it's been in the last 5 years than probably it was in the previous 10. They played pretty well. They've won a couple division titles. They last year was one of their better years, I thought, and they were just right there in a couple of losses. Might have been a playoff. Getting the right way. Their offensive line was terrific. Their defense was really good, and they looked smart. So, and they've handled themselves in the portal. They don't outspend a lot of teams, but they spend smartly. They had the lowest attrition out of any team in Power 5, probably in the country. Only 8 guys entered the portal, and only 1, maybe 2, you could say, was for money. They were a backup or third teamer. So, they really kind of mastered the plan for what they want to do and been really consistent. So he likes what he's got. He doesn't have any hobbies. He doesn't go golfing, doesn't fish, doesn't camp, hates yard work like the rest of us. And so I think at this point, he's just going to keep going. But I do think, though, that there was some strategy this season in the portal because they really went heavy with FCS players. All of them have proven themselves at that level. A lot of All-American FCS pass rusher from Elon, who had, I think, 12 sacks and was second-team All-American, and there were a couple others. And what they wanted to do was bring them in and have them for multiple years, not just a one-year rental, because they really grew to like Mark Gronowski last year. But they were like, wow, if we had one more year with him, they felt like they could really push forward. And with a lot of these FCS guys, they like them because they're hardworking guys. They feel appreciative to be there, and they've already proven themselves at their level, and they think they can take that to the next one. So I think what Kurt's looking at, in my eyes anyway, that's taking words out of his mouth, is that I think he's thinking, hey, this is a big push. They only have 6 guys that expire their eligibility. Next year, there's going to be a heavy amount of juniors and seniors, and then year after that, same thing. So maybe they got one more big run under Kirk Ferentz, and then by then he'll be 74, 75, and we'll see what happens. But I would say I give him at least 2 more years and maybe as many as 5.
Scott, just anything else at Big Ten Media Days that piqued your interest or surprised you this week?
I spent most of my time yesterday for sure on Curt Cignetti. I wrote a couple of stories about him, and it's just still so magical, if you will, that Indiana, the losingest program in college football history, finished the kind of season that they did. But I really like his swagger. I think that's something that the Big Ten kind of needed to showcase a little bit, and especially from their champ, that hey, we don't sit up here and cry and whine. We're up here in the Midwest, we're just going to go out and beat you. That's why we're the best. And I think having that kind of swagger from him was infectious. I always enjoy talking to PJ Fleck. I spent most of my Tuesday with him, and just some of the things like they're really excited because most of Minnesota's background, at least it is Norwegian or Scandinavian. So the fact that they have the Norway soccer teams did so well in the World Cup, and did the Viking row, and they row the boat. So he was talking about having some of them come in. I'm like, are you going to bring in Erling Haaland? And he's like, hey, if you know him, tell him. But I thought he was pretty funny. And the other thing I will say is Cal Whittingham has not gotten it yet. That you cannot bring in Urban Meyer to watch one of your practices at Michigan. To say that, any week but that one. No, this is different. You cannot do that. You cannot bring in an Ohio State anything on game week. And so I think he's probably getting put in the corner with a dunce cap today.
I wanted to wrap with this one, too, because I think we started off kind of hot and heavy. It was more of just Tony Petitti getting the questions about it. As far as the Protect College Sports legislation, I know that there was a deadline, then there was a counter deadline, and it just seems like as that continues to maybe not be part of the agenda before Congress has the recess coming up, has there, just based on the conversations you've had with your colleagues and some of the coaches and athletic directors, what type of feel do you get that is something that we could actually see implemented sooner rather than later?
I think they're really close. I talked to Tony. I had a one-on-one with him on Tuesday, and they just got the note that, hey, you got to get all your changes in by 9 a.m. Wednesday. And he's like, I got to get 18 presidents and chancellors together from major institutions to talk about this, go over and then I saw him on Wednesday morning. I asked him if he had, I go, did you sleep last night? He goes, not a wink, and so they're really stressing over this. As of yesterday, there was just one more part, and it was a killer part. I mean, they're not gonna say yes to it if it doesn't get changed, but had to deal with associate entity, whether the MMRs, Nebraska had to deal with that a lot this summer, whether or not the CSB will approve it and how things will go internally. And so there's still a big hang up, but if they can get that little issue corrected or in the position that the Big Ten and SEC want, then I think it gets probably to the floor. And if you've got SEC and Big Ten backing, it probably makes its way through. Now, granted, we've got a big and important country with a lot of different things going on. And so college sports are really important to us and really important to the people we talk to. But in the grand scheme of things, it's still probably not number one. But I do think, though, that if they can get that pushed through and get every single point in the bill the way that the SEC and Big Ten will agree to, then I think it might have a really good chance of getting through.
Scott Docterman with The Athletic joining us on the road. Scott, really appreciate you spending time with us and look forward to catching up with you throughout the season. Great work, as always, at The Athletic, and good stuff on Big Ten Media Days as well.
Well, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Sorry that the Demons got my phone there, and near my alma mater of Western Illinois. So now I'm heading to the Mississippi River. So.
All right. Well, enjoy the weekend, my man.
All right. Thanks for having me.
That is Scott Docterman with The Athletic.
Great stuff.
And it's something that I interesting to hear. Scott talking about how close they are and how close that could be. I mean, there is a deadline. They've got to get that really discussed and finalized by Monday, pretty much, before that. Was it the summer recess? I don't even know what they call that recess.
Summer, yeah.
I mean, is it summer? Even though the summer's starting to wrap up.
Summer goes till September.
I guess so. That's true. And when we get to the end of August, we'll be in college football time. All right. Oregon, some good stuff out of Big Ten Media Days. And somehow this one slipped through the cracks, and I'm glad that Grant caught this one because you don't want to miss it. Fun stuff happening over in Eugene. And it doesn't involve Dylan Raiola, at least yet. We will discuss on the other side of the break. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Imagine this. It's 7 a.m., you're late for work, and now your garage door won't open. Or worse, it's stuck open all day while you're gone. Suddenly, your home is wide open for the world to see. That's where Spring Kings come in. As the fast and friendly garage door experts, we don't just fix what's broken, we make sure it stays safe. Broken springs, worn cables, faulty sensors, we find it before it costs you having to deal with the neighbors seeing your treadmill turn clothes rack all day. Spring Kings Omaha. We would appreciate your vote again for Best of Omaha. Online at springkingsomaha.com.
Have you ever heard of lion's mane mushrooms? It's a mushroom that looks like a brain, and the supplement supports memory that may help with anxiety or depression. Also contains antioxidants and fiber that can support gut and immune health. Capsules of lion's mane are on sale all this month at both no-name nutrition markets.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
Think you know your stuff? You're invited to pit your knowledge against Handley or Hansen in Generational Beef Trivia. Sponsored by the Pit Barbecue Lounge. Every Friday at 4 p.m. If you're a boomer, you get to pick Gen X or Gen Z questions, while the boys will have to answer boomer questions. If you outsmart them, you'll win a $25 gift card to the Pit Barbecue Lounge, just off Highway 370 and 72nd. Generational Beef Trivia with Handley and Hansen. Fridays at 4 p.m. Brought to you by the Pit Barbecue Lounge.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Omaha heat can be brutal, and a broken AC makes it worse. If your system can't keep up, call Controlled Comfort for fast, professional cooling service. Their certified technicians diagnose issues quickly and restore comfort when you need it most. Stay cool, protect your system, and avoid costly breakdowns. Homes and businesses alike enjoy reliable indoor comfort through the hottest days of summer across Omaha all season long. Schedule your service today at ControlledComfort.com.
Control Comfort keeps it under control.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
Kim from Jill of All Trades impressed me so much with our office renovation that I had to bring her out to my house. She transformed our backyard with new concrete patio, composite steps, and an amazing pergola. It's rare to find someone you trust with your business and your home, but Kim has earned that trust. She truly is a Jill of All Trades.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now.
My wife and I were watching television one evening, and we saw an ad come on, and it was for Roof Max. So after I had 4 or 5 people out, he came out, and sure enough, it turned out to be a great process, especially being able to replace some of the shingles that came off. I'd be happy to give a recommendation. You guys do such an outstanding job, and I've watched you all the way through the process, and I just have nothing but praise for how careful and neat and really exacting crew was and what they did.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741.
The 7th annual Suburban Rotary Show and Shine has been rescheduled for August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F. Proceeds support Suburban Rotary's youth programs. Boomer Radio will be spinning tunes. Boxer Barbecue will be there with their food truck, and there'll be a split-the-pot raffle. Sponsored by Woodhouse Auto Family, Auto Owners, and Smith Davis Insurance, Dundee Bank, Cruise Planners, and AM 590 WOW. Show and Shines from 10 to 2. Hope to see you August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F.
Here's your updated Metro weather outlook. Cloudy skies expected this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 82. Lows dip down to about 63. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Currently, it's 75 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki, and that's your updated Metro weather on AM 590 WOW. Online at 590WOW.com.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
It's AM 590, Handley and Hansen, Grant Hansen, Nick Handley with you here on a Friday afternoon. 531-895-0590, the number to call us. Tweet at us at Hansen, not Hansen, Hansen, not Hanson, and Nick Handley, OMA. You can email us as well. Find us online at 590WOW.com. We haven't mentioned this yet today, Nick, but we've got an app. The app is live.
I mentioned it earlier.
As of
Thanks
yesterday.
Thanks for paying attention. I
Well,
mentioned it in hour 1.
We got to mention it for people so people
That's
know that
right.
you can take us anywhere with you now. Of course, you can also take us with you anywhere through the stream. We're streaming live on our Twitter page and on YouTube, and we'll see. We'll keep adding more, I'm sure, stream locations. Okay, I found this last night while I was doom scrolling at about midnight, and I don't know how
Dude, go to bed.
I sent this at like later than that, I think. I don't know how we missed this, but it deserves to be delivered out of context. Well, here's an interesting tradition Oregon has.
Sometimes Dante farts in the huddle, and we have like a little competition of who can fart in the huddle. But I would say really everybody, but mostly Tay because he farts a lot.
How did this farting in the huddle tradition start?
Gosh, who said that? JJ. I knew it. Too much stuff is getting leaked out. You got to find ways to connect with your team, so we do that. Plain and simple, that's all. There's nothing else.
Okay, all right.
Bravo, boys. Bravo for that.
The first name you heard is Jamari Johnson. The second is Oregon quarterback and Heisman hopeful Dante Moore.
Who walked by me, and never did I ever think he might crop dust me. But he walked right behind me because we had the Heisman Trophy folks right behind us, and they were doing all kinds of publicity for it. And I remember mentioning to you, and I think on these airwaves, I said, gosh, Dante Moore is like, he's got a striking presence. The guy just looks like an elite athlete. And
apparently an elite farter.
Yeah. Never once did I think
Throw
maybe
that
he
in
would.
there too.
I thought you did it, and it might have been Dante Moore, actually, when I picked up on a malodorous smell.
That is such a crazy thing to say at media days.
Bring more of that on. I loved it.
I prefer the openness.
I
now,
loved
here's
it.
my question. When Dylan Raiola walked into his first huddle during spring practice and everybody there expected him to cut loose, to cut the cheese, what happened then?
I'm trying to think of, you match fart types with the type of player it is. Was Dylan's a little bit more squeaky?
I don't know. Now, I did read a piece. There was a piece that I saw that, like, if you have the silent killer types, you're unhealthy.
What?
Like, yeah, I saw that recently.
No.
And I got to go look that up maybe during the commercial break. But also,
I feel like that's inaccurate.
We'll have to find out. I'm sure. Things change all the time.
I've felt very healthy many, many times, and I've gone SBD.
I'm so confused
on farting.
Well, you think, maybe at home it's quiet enough that they can hear it. But if you're in the huddle at a place on the road, like if you're at Husky Stadium, taking on Washington, there's no way you're going to be able to hear that.
No, I'm assuming this is either done at practice or just based on smell. It's not necessarily volume. It's going to be more of the.
Well, they've got multiple guys doing it though.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've never been able. This has not been a skill of mine.
Is this why
I know people who can essentially fart on command? I've never been able to master.
Is this why they're not going under center anymore these days?
I don't know.
It's because
you'd have to ask Dante, and that was a follow up.
The center's having the Empire Strike Back moment of, all right, you're going to do that in the huddle. Why don't you go ahead and put your hands down there? Yeah. That actually, I had a center that would do that to me in high school. He knows
would
who he is.
That person like to call in 531-895-0590.
If he's listening, he knows who he is, Matt. That there would be times we'd always do this when we would do our walkthroughs because we wouldn't have pads on. It'd just be shorts.
It does sound like a very Matt behavior. No shade to Matt Rule. More talking about another Matt that I know, but it sounds like something a Matt would do.
Would it surprise you if I told you that person is now an educator? He's a teacher?
No, that would not surprise me.
Yeah. Centers have to have some fun.
No, I think Justin Evans has a little bit of this. Your center kind of has to be your like quirky relator, extroverted guy. I think you have to be able to find a way to connect with people. I think more of them skew extroverted than not. That's how it was in high school for us.
Is Dante Moore putting a new meaning to the term shotgun? Is he? Does he? What kind of range does Mr. Moore have? Because if they're smelling this all throughout the huddle, you got to have.
Well, if this is becoming a big part of what they're doing, clearly, I'm assuming he's got maybe the best of both worlds. He's got the volume and then the after effect that comes with it.
Well, certainly the control. The actual control has got to be the most.
Well, and those guys are.
And what a way to ease the tension.
They're maxed out with protein. You realize when you're maxed out with protein, that is not a pleasant smell. Like, we're talking straight up like sulfur, rotten egg smell.
I just don't know how this didn't make it through. Like it
All it
still
takes-
hasn't really gone that hasn't been that popular.
Well,
online.
I think
still,
we need examples. We need audio. We need leaked audio.
Okay, there's so many things that we wish we could have asked. If we were in that position.
We were turned down by All Things Oregon, by the way.
Well, I mean, but
So
if I was the one doing the interview and you stumble across this whole thing.
Yeah, I think she was so surprised by that. I think she was so flustered by the response that, the amount of follow-ups I had, I probably would have exceeded my time limit that we would have been able to talk to Mr. Dante more about. But
how does it compare to the farting horse from May? That's the other question. Who knows?
The what?
Do you remember the farting horse from May?
No, is that
the month
anything?
of May? There was a viral video of a horse that was basically forced to fart.
No, but you had to show me Train Dog too. So
oh yeah, people forget about Train Dog.
Clearly, I'm not pretty online. As you said yesterday, pretty online.
Terminally is often the other term.
Yeah, I'm not pretty online. Wow, we're halfway home. What a way to end that segment. But good on Oregon. I love it. Keep it coming.
Hey, I love the personality, man.
Keep ripping, literally.
Yes.
All right, we've got some more Matt Rule audio that we want to dive into, and I cannot wait to be talking to Michael Severe. He joins us in just about 25 minutes or so. As we continue on a Friday, it's Handley and Hansen, AM 590.
The legend has returned. Sports Talk Huskers, AM 590, WOW, Omaha. This is Sports Center.
I'm Ed Denkin. NFL training camps continue, and the Packers welcome back their starting tight end. Tucker Kraft has been taken off the team's PUP list. He's recovering from a torn ACL suffered 9 months ago. Atlanta quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is proceeding cautiously with dealing with what is being called a tweak in his back. There's no timetable when he will be able to return to full practice. Meanwhile, the Rams continue to await a decision from Aaron Donald regarding a possible return. ESPN Jason McCourty talked about some of the things Donald may be considering as far as making a comeback.
To not play football for 2 years, you have to consciously decide that I want to go back to being punched in the face every single play that I'm out there on the field.
Donald last played in 2023. Now to baseball, with the Mets sent left-handed reliever A.J. Mitchell to the Twins in exchange for a pair of minor leaguers. Shohei Ohtani is expected to be back in the Dodgers lineup tonight. He sat out the last game. He continues to deal with his knee injury. Dodgers open up a series with the Red Sox tonight. At Wrigley today, the Yankees shut out the Cubs 2-0.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army Seven Can Help Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
When the power goes out, everything changes. Your comfort, safety, and peace of mind suddenly matter more than ever. That's why homeowners across the Midwest trust Generators for Sale. From expert guidance to professional installation, their team makes backup power simple. So when severe weather hits, life keeps moving without interruption. Generators for Sale. Power your home. Protect what matters most. Learn more at homegeneratorsforsale.com.
Give your family the gift of peace of mind by pre-planning your funeral arrangements today. At Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, their caring staff is dedicated to helping you make your wishes known in advance, easing emotional burdens and reducing uncertainty during a difficult time. With flexible funding options and affordable rates, Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services is here to help you plan with confidence and care. Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, 2 Omaha locations or online at gsfuneral.com.
Omaha heat can be brutal, and a broken AC makes it worse. If your system can't keep up, call Controlled Comfort for fast, professional cooling service. Their certified technicians diagnose issues quickly and restore comfort when you need it most. Stay cool, protect your system, and avoid costly breakdowns. Homes and businesses alike enjoy reliable indoor comfort through the hottest days of summer across Omaha all season long. Schedule your service today at ControlledComfort.com.
Control Comfort keeps it under control.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
Kim from Jill of All Trades impressed me so much with our office renovation that I had to bring her out to my house. She transformed our backyard with new concrete patio, composite steps, and an amazing pergola. It's rare to find someone you trust with your business and your home, but Kim has earned that trust. She truly is a Jill of All Trades.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now.
Have you been to Deers Ford lately?
We may not be the biggest dealership around, but we strive to be the best. And Fremont agrees. We've been honored with 9 Best of Fremont awards, including Best Place to Work, New Car Dealer, Pre-Owned Car Dealer, Locally Owned Business, Tire Store, Auto Repair, Glass Repair, Body Shop, and Best Oil Change. See why so many drivers choose Deers Ford Lincoln. Visit us today at DeersFord.com, Fremont's best award-winning dealership.
Have you been to Deers Ford lately?
Jack Swanda for Gorilla Car Wash. High pressure seawater. It's touchless. Jeff Ballinger. What is that falling from the sky?
Jack, it looks like rain. And I've had some of my really good friends say to me, you know, Jeff, I'll just let the rain wash my car. And I said, really? With the bird droppings and the other things from the tree? We know that's not how it works.
It does not clean itself. That's why you need to go to Gorilla Car Wash. Yeah, absolutely touchless, open 24/7. Find those 8 locations where?
GorillaWash.com.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
It's a Friday here. AM 590 WOW. Handley and Hansen with you. Hope everybody's out of work by now. I know our happy hour doesn't start for another hour, but if you either had that late lunch and just didn't go back to work, or you're just getting out early, because it's actually like very tolerable outside. I know it's kind of
is crazy.
Once we came back, like Chicago, it was gorgeous, and then we came back into a storm last night. But then, it's been fine.
I mean, it was great today. 75 today. This weekend's going to be amazing.
Yeah,
this weekend is
enjoying it.
Prime pool weather.
I want to golf.
I will be 84, 87.
I really want to golf. 531-895-0590 is the number to get in on the show. You can also email us. I am Nick at 590WOW.com. He's Grant at 590WOW.com. And, of course, Justice at 590WOW.com. If you guessed that, you're right. All right, so more from Big Ten Media Days. And when we looked at a lot of the 45-minute audio, I don't make it sound like everything was just extremely hard-hitting and very easy for us to react to. But there were a couple of sound bites.
This is like 5.
Yeah,
they're 5 minutes you're getting over the course of the whole show.
Yeah, right. And it was just this all happened while we were on the air yesterday, and so we didn't have a chance to really discuss it in real time. So we had the benefit of being able to listen, reflect, and talk about it. This was Matt Rule talking about his quarterback and the fishbowl that we do know is the Nebraska student athlete, mainly at the quarterback position when it comes to all the attention and sometimes the criticism, the praise, it all sort of blends together sometimes. But Matt Rule talking a little bit about just the advice he's giving to his new quarterback.
I've talked a lot to him. I think that the only way to handle, as you called it, because I don't want the quote out there that I called it, but you called it a fishbowl, was to embrace it. You know what I mean? Just to embrace it, right? Like, at the end of the day, like, it just means that it matters and that people care. And so, but you can't listen to 15 different people tell you what's right or wrong. Like, you got to listen. Like, we have to listen to, like, our coach, our coordinator, our head coach. I have to listen to the guys. Like, we have to just kind of circle the wagons when it comes to that. But you don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to have sellouts. You don't get to have more fans on the road than you do at home, and then not also have expectation with you. And so, but I like the way he carries himself. I like the confidence he has. And I think, as I said, the way I kind of put it today is I think he's a great yin to my yang. And so I think he brings so much, but he's going to have to anticipate that. Honestly, it's it can break some guys. It's broken some guys. It can, right? It's like no one wants to have your heroes tell you that you suck. No one wants to hear a former player say, well, that guy sucks, or that guy's got to play better. No one wants to hear that. But you also get to play at Nebraska. We're paying you a lot of money. You get the best facilities. It just is what it is, man. It just is what it is. Embrace it, roll with it, and move on. So that's the only advice I have for him is hey, put your phone down, man, and just watch more tape.
It's interesting to me. I don't know in this day and age, especially at a position like quarterback where you have so many eyes on you. Naturally, that position, I think, attracts people with ego. But how in the world can you live with a smart device of any sort that allow any sort of access to the internet? Because you're going to stumble into that at some point. You're going to look for it. And there's going to be heat that comes your way that's sometimes deserved and sometimes not. I mean, more often not, I think, especially as we sort of hear the horror stories about people losing bets on player prop bets and then tweeting at players because they didn't rush for over 36.5 yards or didn't have over 2.5 passing touchdowns or whatever. There's a lot to contend with. But part of that whole segment feels very similar tonally, and I get it. Like I said before, we've given you 5 minutes out of 45. Part of this is we picked things that in time sounded similar tonally. So this whole thing wasn't like that. But even that quote of I didn't call it a fishbowl, you called it a fishbowl. It was this weird mix that we haven't had before. I don't really think under Matt Rule, between some testiness and at the same time, okay, this is why I understand it. I get it. It was a weird mix between of those two sort of tones.
I don't think anything that I'll preface what I'm about to say with the 45 minutes of what Matt Rule said yesterday. I wholeheartedly believe that's what he feels.
Oh yeah.
And those are his opinions and he feels strongly about all of it. And I think if you feel strongly about how you're going to address the media, and I always use the word intentionality when Matt Rule talks. I don't think it's always to a broad audience. I don't think it's necessarily to Husker Nation. I don't necessarily know it's to the media that covers this football program or to some individual entity. I think that there's different questions that when Matt Rule, this is where he is extremely gifted at this, of understanding how in the moment how something can be perceived. And that's where he catches himself. I'm not going to say that. You called it a fishbowl. I'm not going to, because he is extremely careful of what he says. Even, I think, in the heat of the moment, very, very few times. And I would have to go back and really sift through a lot of Matt Rule audio since he's been the head coach in Nebraska to listen to when maybe he slipped up at some point where, he didn't necessarily think that through. He is very good at having that intentionality when he talks. And I think it was interesting to hear earlier about the off season where he talked about don't say that I don't work hard comment. But then kind of going back to saying, okay, it is what it is though. It's just is what it is. But then, giving the advice to Anthony Calandria and being able to let him know here's what to expect. There is a part of it of, okay, what I took away from those two clips is that the volume is higher than it's ever been since Matt Rule has been the head coach in Nebraska.
Oh, for sure.
And this is the thing that I think Matt has to really juggle is he likes to have that presence with social media, and even if not maybe even directly on social media, but doing cameos with people. And when he's at events, when he's at live sporting events, he'll take pictures with everybody. I mean, the guy just doesn't say no.
He's the most public Nebraska football coach maybe ever.
Yeah, he's extremely accessible. But I think the more you do that, you do expose yourself to that type of chatter, that type of, should you be doing this and doing that? Right. And when I hear him react to something like that, like he did yesterday, just in a moment, that might have been as close to a little bit of a slip up that I've ever heard Matt Rule have.
It goes back to what we were talking about in hour number one. Just win. And
right.
he knows that. He knows that.
And he does know that. Absolutely.
Right? That's the other thing that makes it interesting is you can tell that he feels the weight of the expectations, or at the very least is acutely aware of them. And he knows as well, again, there's only one solution. So I mean, that is the difference between, feeling what he, I think, feels and the expectations that he feels now, and being like football Jesus with 75 plus people there to watch him hold court for however long he wanted to after he got his chance up there on the big podium to come over and be the defending national champion head coach.
The winning part of it, you're absolutely right. I'll never forget the first press conference that Matt Rule did, the introductory press conference. I was blown away. I remember talking to one of our very dedicated listeners, good friend Fremont Fred, who was blowing me up during that time saying, I don't love this hire. I don't love this hire. I don't love this hire. And then he heard that first introductory press conference. And I remember him even saying, whoa, well, maybe there's something there. Since has gone back to he doesn't love that hire. But I think that his ability to hit the tone, his ability to, I don't want to say tell you what you want to hear. I know there's going to be some people who do say that. Some people do feel that way.
Right.
But I just think he understands. Again, I go back to that intentionality. There's a message that he is trying to get to certain people in any given response for these questions. But when the winning isn't at the rate that people want, and I think it may be whether it's fair or unfair, that expectation of the year 3 Matt Rule jump that didn't quite jump like everyone thought it would. Matt Rule will continue to be extremely good in those settings at Big Ten Media Days, sitting in front of a large press corps and being able to answer questions and give you some substance to it. But there was a time that we loved it. And we're like, gosh, he's hitting the tone. Man, it's so good. And then now, and I don't say us, but the fans, that if they feel he's falling below expectations when it comes to the win-loss record, then it not only falls on deaf ears, which Matt Rule gets. That's why you haven't heard him talk as much, but it also starts to come across as excuses, or I just don't want to hear the man talk anymore because we haven't gotten to where we want to be.
It comes down to what I laid out ahead of last year when we were talking, right? Like, either jump happens and he is who he says he is, or the jump doesn't happen and the fan base thinks he's a snake oil salesman. I mean, that there's a fraction of the fan base that believes that fervently. And so, and those people, if and when he does find a way to start stacking wins and raise that expectation beyond 7-6, which he said that's not what they came here to do, those people are going to hear it for sure, I think.
I don't know about you, but back to the original audio on Calandria, he has that presence of a guy who really doesn't give a rip.
Calandria does?
People say, yeah. Like, he has that sort of bravado that, come at him as you may, he could care less. And that might change as we get into some live action. That's just I don't know. There's something about him where I think it takes a special person to be able to withstand that. I don't know. Calandria might be that guy. I hope his play backs up that type of presence. All right. Coming back, going to be talking to Michael Severe, get his thoughts on some of what he took away from Big Ten Media Days as well. You can get some NFL, some league in with Michael Severe with training camps going on all throughout the country. We're back after this here. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Register to win a whole house generator from AM 590 WOW and Generators for Sale with the Generac Power Play giveaway. Log on to 590WOW.com and tell us what you want to protect when the power goes out, and you'll be registered to win a whole house generator installed at your home valued at nearly $15,000. There's other great prizes too, like a portable generator and smart home devices. Don't be left in the dark. Register today and see contest rules at 590WOW.com.
Hi, this is Dave Nabity. Starting August 1st, every Saturday, right here on AM 590 WOW, my show, Saturday Mornings with Dave Nabity, is the place to be. We'll cover news, politics, current events, and anything else my brain decides to conjure up. One promise, it'll be entertaining, and it'll be the right way to start your Saturday morning. Starting August 1st, join me 6 to 9 every Saturday morning right here on AM 590 WOW.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
If the Las Vegas Raiders get offered a first-round pick by the Dallas Cowboys for Max Crosby and say no, they are certifiably insane. They are going nowhere this year. Not because they're not heading in the right direction. They are. But that is an impossible division. Going to finish in last place, even if you're significantly better. You also are not going to get the 2 first-rounders ever again.
Unsportsmanlike, 5 to 9 every weekday morning on AM 590 WOW.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army 7 Can Help Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
Are you frustrated with your current pharmacy? Well, you're not alone. There's a better way. VRX Pharmacy in Omaha, 1 block north of 90th and Dodge. I'm Charles Tomlinson, a pharmacist at VRX. We're not a chain, not a box store, but a locally owned community pharmacy that knows our customers. Plus, we deliver. We work with all providers, accept all insurances, Medicare and Medicaid. Call VRX today, a better way to get your medications.
Make the call, make the change today. VRX, the better way, the better way.
When the power goes out, everything changes. Your comfort, safety, and peace of mind suddenly matter more than ever. That's why homeowners across the Midwest trust Generators for Sale. From expert guidance to professional installation, their team makes backup power simple. So when severe weather hits, life keeps moving without interruption. Generators for Sale. Power your home. Protect what matters most. Learn more at homegeneratorsforsale.com.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Hey, we're going to be hitting the road next week. You can join us live Thursday, August 6th, and Friday, August 7th from 2 to 6 at Pinnacle Bank Championship, broadcasting from Indian Creek Golf Course for Omaha's Corn Ferry Tour stop, and we'll be right in the middle of it. Come by, say hi, grab some AM 590 WW swag. You can touch Grant Hansen's hair, too.
People have tried to do that before, and I usually let them.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh, that would freak me out.
I do. I mean, I don't like to make a habit of it, but I mean, if you want to, I guess you can step up to the plate and try. I don't know.
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
I guess that's a weird request.
You just
on my
offered
part,
it.
too.
You just offered it for everybody.
I did it, and now,
so, I mean, what am I
I'm
supposed to do?
I'm trying to bring that back as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck with
it's
that.
It's going to be a very odd transition.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're going to bring in Michael Severe to course correct us here a little bit.
Yeah, please help.
The host of Big Red Wrap Up, Jet Award Foundation, executive director as well. Everything that you ever need to know about not only college football and the numbers and the metrics, but also NFL guru as well. Michael Severe joining us. Hi, Michael.
I've touched your hair before, Nick Handley.
Remember when I had it?
I knew you that long ago. Yeah. No, remember that time you were at the College World Series and you'd put this hair gel in that wasn't quite the right kind of hair gel, and it kind of turns your hair a little green. And we're all kind of walking by to make sure it was okay and just kind of touching it a little bit back in the day. I got lots of Nick Handley stories from the College World Series, and all of them end with people laughing.
Well, good. I mean, if I can have people laughing, even if it's at my expense, I'm happy about that. I do remember the Aaron Andrews interview. Before Aaron Andrews became a big deal, that was you and me on that set over there.
Yeah, she was a hard-working young lady. Remember, she told us that she had been covering so much stuff, she hadn't been back to her apartment in like 3 months. She had been from one event to the next event to the next event, and she'd not been back to her apartment, and she was looking forward to the end of the College World Series so she could just basically go home.
And look at her now.
I was going to say.
And look at her now. Yes.
Exactly. What do you got going on, by the way? Did we interrupt? You got a family reunion going on or something?
We're in the kitchen. We're in New Orleans. So we came up here. We always come the last week of July, usually make that trip. And We came by, and I think one of my oldest sisters behind you, and my son Miles is back there, and somewhere back there is my wife Chris as well. So yeah, we're in the kitchen. Kitchen is kind of a gathering spot for the city of New Orleans. I don't know why that is, but people always gather in the kitchen. I think because of the food, obviously, but also it's a gathering spot, and that's what they're doing right now.
Michael, NFC South time.
Yeah, let's go.
What are your thoughts on the Bucks and them basically in the span of a week having two kind of relatively public contract issues with one of their best players on defense and then their starting quarterback in Baker Mayfield?
I always think during this time of year when you have that contract stuff, it doesn't matter. Are they going to be there week one when they have to be? Baker's played in the league now, 8 years, 9 years? What does he need to worry about in terms of training camp? I never worry about that kind of stuff. I was out at Saints camp actually yesterday. It was the first day open for the public, and so I went out there to check that out. And, the question was what was going to happen with Chris Olave, because you're in that year where you got to figure out if you're going to sign him, what are you going to do? And by the end of the day, they figured it out, right? So all the debating the week before about what was going to happen with Chris Olave, that was just a waste of time or a filler for a radio show. But it doesn't bother me. It doesn't worry me. I personally still think the Bucs are the favorite in that division. I think it goes Bucs, Saints, Carolina, Atlanta. I think that's the order. I think that's kind of close to what the order is as well for the odds too, right? Yep. So that's what I think. I mean, the best quarterback is obviously Baker Mayfield. He was so injured last year. He became, if you want to talk about a story of redemption, this guy went from being the number 32nd ranked quarterback under pressure for 3 straight years to being one of the best when the pocket was muddy and he had pressure. It's incredible what he's become. And the way he uses his legs now, he used a little bit at Oklahoma, but not like he's used it now. And he's a great player. I not having Mike Evans, a guy who 7-8 straight years with 1,000 yards before last year. And all the injuries they had last year, they're certainly going to be healthier. And so I would say the Bucs are going to be fine. And I think the Saints have an opportunity with an offensive line that's got a bunch of first-round picks on it. Have a younger defense. They got a second wide receiver to go with Chris Olave. Plus, Noah Fant is on the roster now. Caught a couple touchdowns yesterday in practice, so good to see him. Everybody was like, "That guy is huge," because Noah is like 250 something like that, 6'5" now. And so they were talking a lot about that guy around me. But I'm excited for the season. Not like last year when I was cheering for them to lose every game because I wanted a top 5 pick, which did not happen. But this year, I think they could be a 9-8 team and finish somewhere near the top of the South.
I want to keep this in the South here for a moment before we talk some college football and some Nebraska as well. But quick question: will we see Jack Strand or Cooper Rush take a significant snaps for Atlanta at some point?
I don't think so. So as bad as it's been, right, for the Atlanta Falcons, they have figured out their pass rush, which took forever. Like Abrams was like the last guy to have 10 sacks for them 20 years ago, and now they actually kind of have that figured out. So that's a benefit for them. Injury at quarterback obviously has been a problem they've had, but I don't think that they'll get to the 3rd and 4th string quarterback. But if they do, my opinion is you go out and you trade for Dylan Gabriel. Got another left-hander. You bring a 3rd left-hander in, and you have him start the games because everybody's expecting a left-hander to play. You can't just bring in some random quarterback out of nowhere, right? So I would bring in Dylan Gabriel if I was the Falcons right now, just in case something happened. But no, I think they'll be fine at quarterback. Their big issue is they have a reasonably tough schedule. Not the Saints have the second easiest schedule, but reasonably tough schedule. And I think their coaching is a huge issue. I would have made a change personally last year, but you do what you got to do. For the Falcons to lose, I'm never going to be sad about that. I had a picture of myself when I was I might have been maybe 10 or 11. There's a shirt that says, "I hate the effing Falcons." There's a picture out there of me with that shirt, and I still feel the same way 47 years later.
Michael, is this Matt Rule's most talented roster at Nebraska and ahead of any actual game competition or even any fall camp practice? What evidence is there out there to support that?
Well, there's no doubt that it's the most talented offensive line he's had. I believe they're the 4th most experienced offensive line in the Big Ten. But if you just go power 4 starts, they're number 1. They have more power 4 starts among their starting 5 guys than anybody else in the league. If you look at what they are overall, about 7 or 8 deep, I think, at offensive line. The question's obviously going to be the skill at defensive line. They've got potential. Williams and Ware is a 5-star, right? He's got to play like a 5-star. Riley Van Poppel was a guy last year who I believe was going to take a big jump. That didn't happen, and now he's got to prove himself. Petchak was great as a rookie or a freshman. Now he's got to prove himself. The defensive line and that front are really 5 guys. You have the front 4, then you're going to have a 5th guy who is a pass rusher from the linebacker spot. They have a lot of stuff to prove. But secondary is as deep as it's been in a number of years. Wide receivers are as deep as it's been in a number of years. I know people question the running back room. You can have too many running backs, right? I think people think too much about if you get to the 4th string running back, you'll probably suck anyway. So if you got to the point where you've had 3 of your starting running backs all get hurt, what are you expecting from the 4th guy? So I don't worry about that. Special teams is your question. You lose a great special teams coach. And now the question is, can you keep that same motivation and fire you had under Eckler, under a couple of guys who have never really led a room before? That's probably your biggest question. But in terms of talent overall, this group, and based off of some of the guys who came back from last year, is probably the most talented in terms of what's going to happen for the NFL draft in the next couple of years.
Michael Severe joining us here, Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW. I want to ask you a question that Grant and I were talking about yesterday at Big Ten Media Days on Anthony Calandria. What would concern you more with Calandria this year, the turnover history or just his overall size?
Size doesn't bother me as much because of it's college, and you can have a guy like a Diego Pavia who was barely 5'9" out there and making plays. My concern is how he plays against the top-rated defenses. I went back when he first signed. I mean, that first day, it was during Big Red Wrap-Up, actually. It was about an hour before Big Red Wrap-Up we found out that Anthony Calandria was going to be the quarterback for Nebraska. And when we were looking at his numbers, he looked pretty good against, 75 and lower or higher, however you want to say it, defenses. But when he was playing against top 50 defenses, not as good. You go back to that last year at Virginia, the last couple of games, played against a top 2 defense in the country against Notre Dame, looked pretty poor. Played twice against Boise that year, probably the against at UNLV, probably the top defense he played against. One game he was okay, second game he was pretty poor. So overall, playing against quality defenses, he's tended to struggle. And more than anything else, he's really struggled running the ball against those teams. And so that's my big concern because, believe it or not, maybe you don't know this, the Big Ten is loaded with a bunch of good defenses. And so he's probably going to play an average between everybody he plays, 23rd, 24th ranked defense when you add everybody together, eliminating Ohio and Bowling Green. That's some tough competition. That worries me. The turnovers happen because the guy's going to take chances. You go back from Dylan Raiola and you look at the amount of times that guy threw the ball over 20 yards. Now, he very rarely completed it over the second half of the year before he got hurt. And he didn't try it very often. You've got a quarterback who loves the deep ball. Calandria is going to try to throw the ball 15, 20 yards downfield. That's fun. Occasionally, as Bill Walsh said, you're going to have something bad happen occasionally. But you get interference, you get some catches, you get things like that happening as well. So I'm excited to see him play. I am concerned on how he's going to be against some of the better defenses out there. And I'm a little concerned with a couple of the offensive linemen. When they played last year against high-level defensive linemen, they had some issues. Brendan Black had some issues. And Mubanga had some issues as well. So I worry a little bit about that. But I think he's going to make enough plays. I've been saying all along, I wouldn't be surprised if he's top 5 quarterback in terms of total yards, right, from scrimmage. At the same time, he could be top 5 in terms of turnover-worthy plays.
Michael, who won talking season? Which conference?
Oh, you can call it talking season, right? But whenever you're talking about talking, it has to go back to what actually happened in the real world. And the Big Ten's won it, right? They won the championships. You got Signetti standing up there saying we're the best conference, and no one can say they're not. You can have the SEC going, but in the middle, we're pretty good in the middle. What about the middle? Nobody cares about the middle, bro. And nobody was ever going, when Nebraska was winning national championships in the Big 12, no one was going, yeah, but what about where Kansas is finishing or where Missouri's finishing? No, it was about the team that won the national championship. That was the conference. That's what they're talking about. Even when Alabama was winning national championships, or the times that LSU won, nobody was caring about who was the bottom of the SEC. That's a silly argument. The Big Ten has won every single argument. And I will tell you, long time Big Ten hater, right? I've been a Penn State fan since I was a little kid. My dad actually worked there before he passed away in 79. We were there in 77 and 78. Penn Penn State played for the national championship in 78, was one play away in 79. But I look at that now, and I remember 94 when the Big Ten newly bringing in Penn State didn't back Penn State. Writers didn't vote for them. They ended up getting left out of the national championship. I know people are excited about that as Nebraska fans, but I'll always take the Big Ten for that. So I don't stand up normally for the Big Ten. I will tell you they're the better conference because they won championships. They got the better coaching. And how about what they've done over the last 4 years at quarterback? They had all those years where they hadn't had a first-round pick, and now they have all these first-round picks. So every excuse you could make about the Big Ten not being as good, they've broken every single one of those things. So they're trending to be the best. They're still the best.
Michael, if Nebraska is to take another step forward in the win-loss category, and I know with that schedule, everyone talks about it, and it should be.
Don't talk about the schedule, Hanley. You're fired if you talk about the schedule. Kicking you out the building.
I would have learned. I would have learned from yesterday.
Yes.
If they are to take that step forward, how does it happen? If Nebraska is to get, let's say, to 8-4, and I'm not saying that's what I'm predicting, but how do they get there in your opinion?
Well, you win the first 5, right? All of which you're favored against. You're probably going to be favored by in the 20s against Ohio and Bowling Green. You're probably going to be favored against Maryland anywhere from 3.5 to 5.5. And you're going to be favored over Michigan State, maybe as much as 7, even though you're going to their place. So you win all the games that you're favored. And actually, if you look at the numbers for Matt Rule against the spread, been pretty good winning games when they're the favorite of more than 3.5. Been solid doing that. His problem has been when he's been an underdog of 3.5 or more. That's when he's 0 for 10 straight up. Not very good against the spread either. So I would say you win those first 5, right? You're going to go to Rutgers. That could be your 6th. Play Indiana well. You know, you never know. It's going to be their first real competition of the season. They have a week non-conference, and then they get Northwestern, and they get Rutgers. So they're not going to be playing a tough schedule either. Maybe you get them. Maybe Josh Hoover throws some picks. He's thrown a lot of picks in his career. I'm not saying you're going to win that game, but maybe you have a chance. Beat Illinois on a Friday night. Why not? Illinois has got an inexperienced offensive line, an inexperienced defensive line, and a brand new quarterback, and they're missing some of their other talent from the secondary. Why not beat them? Now, where are we at right now? We're at 7 wins, right? An 8th win is, upsetting Iowa, or I think Halloween. I think Halloween, whatever time that game's played, Memorial Stadium is going to be rocking. Washington has not necessarily been good on the road under DeMond Williams, so you win that one. Now you're at 8. Not that hard, I don't think.
Michael, I'm going to put you in an interesting situation here. You are a tight end for Oregon. You come into the huddle, and your quarterback cuts loose a fart to try to release some tension in the huddle before a big play and try to engage you in a traditional team fart competition. Do you participate?
So I will tell you that I am not traditionally a gassy person. So it'd be difficult for me. I'm not one of those people that can just listen to this and do that. I've never been able to do that. So in my family, it was actually held against us. It wasn't. See, let me just put it this way. My wife's family loved to fart, right? It's like a pride for them. Like we can fart, right? I had never heard of hot boxing until I met my wife. I didn't know what that was. We didn't play that kind of stuff. So I don't think I'd be able to contribute. If they want to do it, that's fine. I can hold my breath for a very long time. And so I'll be okay, but I wouldn't be able to help out in the fart competition. I apologize.
And you've got, by the way, bring it back. I'm going to try to bring it back to something more serious.
Okay, sure.
Did you see that bite? Did you see
I did not see that soundbite. I missed that about the people farting in the hall.
I'll text that to you. But
okay, I appreciate it. If we're talking about Oregon, so I went back and I took all the EA rankings, right, to see who had the best offensive and defensive lines in the Big Ten. 5 of the players from the defensive line for Oregon are over 80. Like 3 of them are over 90 in terms of that defense. Talk about the farting all you want. That defensive line is a bitch. I wouldn't want to play them, especially having to go play them there like Nebraska does. That defensive line is going to wreck some real quarterbacks and some real offenses over the course of that year.
And plenty more analysis like that, I think, available at the 3rd annual College Football Kickoff Roundtable for the Jet Award Foundation. Tell us more. Yeah, so that is April 27th. It's over at the Hurrdat Sports Bar. We've done it. Like I said, this is the 3rd one. We have a Husker roundtable that we're doing. It's linebackers and a wide receiver. It's Josh Banderas, right? And then it's Mo Berry. And it's a little bit older guy in Bo Rude.
And then our wide receiver is Brennan Riley. One of the greatest catches, one of the last great catches for Nebraska in a win, right, against Michigan State.
That's right.
Yep. So Brennan Riley's going to be there as well. We have an auction. A lot of great things there to auction to buy to come out for that as well. You can find everything about it at thejetaward.com. We've got the link for tickets. They're only $10 to get in unless you want to get drinks added on, if you want to get a football. And go to jetaward.com. You can register for the auction. You can get tickets. Everybody come on out, help us. You know, we raise money for scholarships for students going to Iowa Western and MCC. And so every dollar that we can raise, you know, helps the foundation and helps the Johnny Rogers Career and Technical Scholarship Program.
All right.
Thank you, Michael.
10 seconds. What's for dinner tonight?
We're actually eating leftovers from Chinese Kitchen. It's my favorite place to go when I come in town. Some boneless fried chicken, giant egg rolls. We're going to have leftovers from that last night. That's what we're having for our last night here.
Fantastic. Safe travels back, Michael. Appreciate you coming on, man.
Thanks, guys.
Michael Severe. He's the greatest. We're back right after this. It's Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW.
When downtime isn't an option, don't get your feathers ruffled. Call RNC Livestock Services in Fremont, providing reliable professional support for producers with expert maintenance and repairs for chicken, hog, and dairy farms. RNC Livestock Services is dedicated to helping farmers protect their investments and ready to wrangle all your livestock equipment parts and service needs. RNC Livestock keeps your operation moving. Find them online at rnclivestockservices.com or call 402-704-2770.
How are the Omaha Supernovas redefining professional volleyball? Because no one supports the game like Novas Nation. General Manager John Cook has assembled a roster featuring former Husker Merritt Beeson and stars from around the volleyball world, all with one goal: bring another championship to Omaha. Be there for all 13 home matches at CHI Health Center this January and experience the loudest, most electric atmosphere in professional volleyball. Secure your season tickets today at supernovas.com and join the world's #1 volleyball fan base.
That rumble you just heard? Don't panic. It's not your engine. It's your stomach, and it knows exactly what it wants. Wing Haven in Millard is making wings the right way. Every sauce scratch-made, and they keep getting better. Feeling brave? Go Dragonfire. Want to live on the edge? Try the Haven sauce of hell. Not ready for all that? Get them naked. Or go garlic parmesan, and thank yourself later. Bone-in, boneless, loaded fries, or satisfy that sweet tooth with any of their refreshers or hot churro bites or donuts. Open every day till 11 at 138th and P. Wing Haven. Run for wings.
It's Gorilla Car Wash. Jeff Ballinger here. #1 with the touchless car washes for how long?
Jack, we're running on 2 decades now, and I don't know a lot of things that have been #1 for 20 consecutive years, but Gorilla Car Wash has.
Let me see. I'm trying to think. I can't come up with anything. The great thing about Gorilla Car Wash, it's convenient, open 24/7.
And we're locally owned, Jack. It's nice to have local people involved, touchless automatics, and guess what? The customers seem to love us 2 decades in a row.
GorillaWash.com.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made from scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
As Americans, we celebrate all the things that make us different. So what is the thing that connects us? The thing that makes us Americans? It's simple. It's our shared belief that we are Americans. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. That belief that we each can be who we are and live the life we dream, in harmony with one another, in our system, written in the words of the Constitution. Know your Constitution. It's who you are. It's who we are.
Unity. It's an American thing. From AmericanThing.org.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Great segment there with Michael Severe here on Handley and Hansen. And folks, tune in to Handley and Hansen for generational beef trivia every Friday at 4 o'clock starting next Friday. It's brought to you by Pit Barbecue Lounge just off of Highway 370 and 72nd Street. We'll pit one generation against another in a game of trivia for a chance to win a $25 gift card from the Pit Barbecue Lounge. Okay, I just got done a little NFL talk, a little NFC South talk just a bit ago with Michael. Justice, let's cue up the audio here from Baker Mayfield. His side of the story, and by the way, the Bucs side of the story has started to trickle out here through Adam Schefter as well. But this is an interview.
Say Schefter?
Yes.
It's Schefter.
Okay. Jeremy Fowler, the interview here with Baker.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've told you guys I've been pretty upfront and honest about my feelings about Tampa. It being home for now our family. We're raising kids here. We love it here. I wanted the deal done and set the deadline and told them it was going to be all ball after that. And I did mean that. And I don't know if they thought I was just going to take some of the offers that they gave, but I'm at the point of my career and understanding what I've brought to this franchise. One, I'm very, very thankful for the chance they gave me. Do not get me wrong on that. But I've also I really know what I've brought to this franchise, leadership-wise, and even play-wise. It's been some of the best years of my career, and I think it's only going to trend upwards, just being comfortable and feeling that. So disappointing in that regard to not have, to feel disrespected a little bit. And that's really the disappointing part, to feel undervalued after – thinking you've earned it. This is not a poor me thing. There's a lot of other people that have it way worse off, but I can sit here and look at other quarterbacks and peers and evaluate myself based on that and put myself in certain categories that I deserve to be compensated for that. And I think I'm a franchise quarterback. I've been told I'm a franchise quarterback. It's been said publicly from ownership down here. And so to not have a deal done is very disappointing, but I said the deadline was a deadline, and I addressed the team to let them know I meant that. It's all ball. I'm with these guys.
So the report on the Buccaneers side, I'm assuming this is leaked to the Buccaneers. I don't think Baker would necessarily put this out, but the offer was $50 million a year for 2 years, so about $100 million, a little bit above that in total from the Bucs. And Baker wanted more years than that. I mean, he wanted more than 2 seasons on that deal. He thought he'd earned that. Last year, 3,693 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 11 picks. His worst season as the quarterback in Tampa Bay, at least as far as those metrics go, after a 24 season when he had his best. 4,500 passing yards, 41 touchdowns. That was a career high. 16 interceptions. I'm asking you this, Nick. Is this a ploy? Because I think we can agree that Baker has always had a chip on his shoulder, but I think he plays better with the chip on his shoulder, where the Buccaneers are saying, look, we can play hardball. We can revisit this later. They're running the risk here a little bit of him playing with the chip on his shoulder and a chance to potentially to be fully healthy with his weapons, fully healthy around him. You know how belabored with injuries this team was a year ago. This could come back to bite the Bucs if he does play with that chip on his shoulder and elevate his game.
This is a tough one because he's 31 years old now. If you're looking at a guy that wants more than say a 3 or 4 year deal, I would say most occasions, especially for what has kind of been a journeyman quarterback, but he's been in some bad situations as well, that typically you're not going to get it. I don't want to say shut up and take the money, but in a way, for most 31-year-old quarterbacks, you would start to see the numbers maybe a little bit on the decline, unless we're considering Baker Mayfield or elite level quarterbacks. You wouldn't maybe necessarily see on the decline. I don't think anybody is confusing Baker Mayfield from a good quarterback to an elite quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback, but
I mean,
it's very interesting.
2 years ago, he played like one.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. It's very interesting. Even last year wasn't awful. Was not awful for him. 23 was not awful. So you're seeing, I think, sort of a plateau effect with Baker Mayfield, that if you're looking at the future for him, if you're an organization, you got to ask yourself if he's worth more than, not even more money, because I think the dollars per year is fantastic. I think that's right in the neighborhood for Baker Mayfield and what he's done. I think he should see that as well. It's the amount of years on this. I personally think that Baker Mayfield is probably worth it right now to give him
Certainly.
a 3-year or possibly even a 4-year deal. Obviously,
he-
you can have options there and everything, but it is interesting. I thought you would start to see once he kind of settled in, got into his early 30s, you'd see maybe a little bit more of a decline. He's actually going the opposite way. He's starting to ascend his numbers, and I think he's kind of found a home in Tampa Bay.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, this is the best stop of his career. You wonder, too, if he can find a way to extend his career the same way Matt Stafford did. You would have thought 5 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, that Stafford would eventually plateau and start to decline, and he had an incredible year last year. To me, for Baker, it's got to be a situation where he feels offended or slighted because they told him he's a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
If I've got management or coaching staffs telling me you are our guy, you are our franchise quarterback, then I expect maybe to have a little bit more give in these sort of negotiations, or in his case, take. So now the majority of what we have is his side of the story, and the Buccaneers have been upfront with the fact that him going public with this sort of thing doesn't necessarily make them happy. So we'll see how things develop from here. I mean, he's going to be playing on the last year of his deal with Tampa Bay.
If he's ball in, do it one more year, man. Because I still have a tough time thinking of Baker Mayfield as any 32 teams. If they were looking for a franchise quarterback, that he'd be towards the top of the list. We're looking for a guy. But again, the numbers, even for a down year last year, wasn't so bad. 24 was fantastic. 23 wasn't bad. But I still feel like I got to see more of it from Baker Mayfield before I would go fully franchise quarterback. But if that's what they're saying to him, then you got to put your money where your mouth is.
I agree.
That's the whole part of this. All right, coming back, we're going to have Justice explain something to us. There's a big deal going on in World Cup soccer. And you and I, not soccer guys, but
Nope.
Justice is going to tell us why this is a big deal. And we'll get back into some more college football conversation as well. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Announcing the grand opening of the newest 42 Degrees location at 180th and Q. Celebrate big with 42 Degrees and take advantage of grand opening sales and discounts on everything in the store. That's right, sales on everything. From wellness-focused solutions that support everyday aches and pains to products designed for comfort and relaxation. This is your moment to save and feel your best. Now with 10 convenient locations serving Omaha and Lincoln, 42 Degrees makes it easy to stop in and stock up. Get details at 42degrees.com. 42 Degrees, trusted by mom.
With school just around the corner, don't forget to buy Nordic Naturals DHA products. DHA is essential for normal brain and eye development, and it may help attention, behavior, and reading. And these supplements are on sale the whole month of August at no-name nutrition markets. Available in capsules, gummies, and liquid form.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
My name is Christy. They painted our whole house and they did some soffit work for us. I would highly recommend Kim. She is fantastic. She has a great eye for detail. Her crew was wonderful. Everything was clean when they left, and it was fantastic.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now.
Hi, my name is Ty, and I recently was told that I needed to get a new roof by 2 different contractors. I was freaking out considering that my roof wasn't even that old, but I saw a commercial on Roof Max, and I gave them a call and have them come out and look at the roof. They came out, they said I was eligible for the Roof Max product that actually rejuvenated the shingles and makes my roof look like it's a brand new roof that was just recently put on. I would recommend Roof Max to anyone.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741.
Give your family the gift of peace of mind by pre-planning your funeral arrangements today. At Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, their caring staff is dedicated to helping you make your wishes known in advance, easing emotional burdens and reducing uncertainty during a difficult time. With flexible funding options and affordable rates, Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services is here to help you plan with confidence and care. Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, 2 Omaha locations or online at gsfuneral.com.
Imagine this. It's 7 a.m., you're late for work, and now your garage door won't open. Or worse, it's stuck open all day while you're gone. Suddenly, your home is wide open for the world to see. That's where Spring Kings come in. As the fast and friendly garage door experts, we don't just fix what's broken, we make sure it stays safe. Broken springs, worn cables, faulty sensors, we find it before it costs you having to deal with the neighbors seeing your treadmill turn clothes rack all day. Spring Kings Omaha. We would appreciate your vote again for Best of Omaha. Online at springkingsomaha.com.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
All right, some big news in the world of soccer that was going on yesterday. We were in the heart of Big Ten college football, so we didn't get a chance to discuss this. But I know Justice, who played soccer at a very high level too, informed us that this was a big deal. Now, Justice, I want you to know, I did read about this yesterday. I do understand if you are someone that embraces the sport of soccer, which millions of people do.
Yes.
I do understand.
That's a fact.
Millions of people do. I'm just not one of them. That the UEFA decision.
I know that.
The UEFA, that decision, right? Because of the direction the FIFA organization wants to go, this is a big deal. This is you're talking about several countries that the World Cup would be without. Explain more, please, Justice.
Yeah, so I'll give you kind of the 90-second elevator pitch here, fellas. Don't want to take too much time. Nobody wants to hear me talk about soccer, so I'll get in and out. The big deal about
you
this.
Said it, I did.
There's been 23 total World Cups that have taken place. European countries or countries from the UEFA coalition have won 13 of them. So that leaves 10 for your South American, your North American countries, however you want to divvy that up. This is a big deal because FIFA is going in and trying to get private equity and private investors involved with the FIFA World Cup that they value at a $20 billion evaluation. They want to sell a 20% stake of that. So that's $4 billion, right in around $4.5 billion in that figure range that Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, is trying to sell. This is a major deal because FIFA is seen as this place of political neutrality. It's a breeding hub for everybody to come together and say, hey, we're going to share our ideas. We're going to see how we can grow, not only within the soccer portion of our countries, but also the infrastructure, some of our manufacturing, transportation. It's a melting pot of ideas, and that's where you get the term breeding ground from, because it tends to pop out a lot of great ideas, and not only just from the soccer side of things, but also from an infrastructure and national manufacturing standpoint. So the sanctity of this is being breached because FIFA is pursuing some private equity investors, and that is seen as a slap in the face to the world of soccer, because this is this place of sanctity. This is a domain in the World Cup that is not supposed to be encroached upon by politics, by private investors, by any outside influence. It's just supposed to be a place where these nations come together, showcase the best of their culture, the best of their teams, and the best of what they have to offer from a personality and from a cultural standpoint. So that's why this is such an affront and such a huge deal in the world of soccer.
So wait, isn't FIFA already, though, considered to be fairly corrupt?
Thank you. Okay, I wanted to ask the same thing. Why? This is where I'm almost kind of on the side of FIFA, where the UEFA had no problem with the corruption that has been just absolutely riddled that surrounds FIFA. Like, why is this such a big deal all of a sudden?
I think it's a big deal because there's a lack of control from a lot of these parties involved. So think about the separate federations. You have the North American Federation, CONCACAF, the Asian Footballing Confederation, the AFC, and then UEFA's coming together, all trying to band together to stop this. And that's the European Confederation, UEFA. They're trying to stop this because they, for a large part, when it comes to FIFA, have not had a lot of power and a lot of say in the corruption going on. Everybody is quietly behind the scenes been mulling and really stirring about what happened, even dating back to Sepp Blatter's days in charge of the FIFA, and everything that went on there, all the actions and allegations that went on during his term as FIFA president. So it's a major deal, and really these confederations are powerless in this situation because FIFA has such a great influence over how the global game is spread and how it's played. And also FIFA's got a massive marketing and lawyer bank behind it that'll allow it to pretty much do anything that it pleases. So that's why this is such a big deal and why UEFA hasn't had a problem with it. But from an American perspective, you kind of understand it, because being from a capitalist society, private equity, the more money we can get into something, the better. That's where the camps have kind of split on this issue.
So what are the long-term consequences of any of this, given that we're about as far as you can get away from the next World Cup.
A little less than 4 years, my man.
Yeah.
A little less than 4 years, right?
I think for some people, there's already been the allegations that maybe Gianni Infantino has been favoring some of these South American countries, i.e. in Argentina with Lionel Messi, a Brazil that's won 6 World Cups, the most out of any nation. There's been these accusations that he's favoring these South American countries. So the worry is for this next World Cup, if private equity, private investors, American investors were to come in, that would sway FIFA's political leanings even more and make it almost a blatantly corrupt issue, whereas FIFA's been able to kind of shell things off and they've been able to hide behind different corporations and different ventures, and they've been able to shelter the corruption. This would just be blatant out in the open cheating, and the same that we would view it in college football, where they would look at it and say, wow, look at all this money coming in from a certain place. That's not good money to be coming in, or any good private equity. So it's a morality problem more than anything else. From an infrastructure standpoint for FIFA, they're just trying to raise the dollar value and the valuation of FIFA. But from a morality and pureness of the game standpoint, that's where a lot of the outrage comes from. And football fans, soccer fans are very protective about their tribalism.
I'm just saying, you can't always have it both ways, from a corrupt system to now trying to capitalize, at least monetarily, on the very, very wealthy brand that clearly FIFA is. Is this, Justice, real quickly, is this going to affect the FIFA soccer game on the PlayStation and Xbox?
I don't know that it'll directly affect any of your FIFA playing, Nick, but I will say that just from an international fan's perspective, this has really ruffled a lot of people.
I'm sure, and I get that. I kind of kid because I'm not really in it, and
no.
But again, this is from a casual observer.
I know more about it now than I did 5 minutes ago.
And I read you verbalized it way better than what I read yesterday, but I just know from a casual observer that FIFA has always just been extremely corrupt. I remember the Sepp Blatter in the 2015 situation there, and all the indictments and arrests and all the stuff that took place. Maybe they've cleaned it up since. I don't know. But all right, there you go. We're going to get back to some college football. The Golics will be debuting on ESPN right here on AM 5 now. We're going to talk to Mike Golic Jr. Also, some more Husker conversation with Matt Rule audio from yesterday at Big Ten Media Days. Handley and Hansen, AM 590, WOW.
The legend has returned. Sports Talk Huskers. AM 590. WOW. Omaha. Sports Center.
I'm Ed Denkin. We start with NFL news, and the Packers getting their tight end back. Tucker Kraft has been taken off the PUP list for the Packers. He's coming back from a torn ACL suffered 9 months ago. Meanwhile, Falcons quarterback Tua Tagovailoa continues to cautiously come back while dealing with what he has called a tweak in his back. There's no timetable as to when he will return to full practice. Meanwhile, training camp continues for the Cowboys. Pro football writer Albert Beer from Monday Morning Quarterback was on the Rich Eisen show on ESPN Radio, and he says there appears to be a stronger culture with the Cowboys this season.
That's the one thing I got from being around, because that organization's obviously rolled the dice plenty in that department over the years. And that was the one thing that really stuck out. Like every conversation I had with any of the people working there was just how good a place the locker room seems to be right now.
Meanwhile, the Cowboys continue with their workouts in California. In baseball, the Yankees shut out the Cubs 2-0 today at Wrigley. Meanwhile, the Mets traded left-handed reliever A.J. Minter to the Twins in exchange for a pair of minor leaguers.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options, Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Hey, it's Dave Wingert, and I submit there's so many reasons to choose Rebath over anybody else who remodels bathrooms, but I've only got 30 seconds. So listen, if you're a fellow boomer and you're looking to age in place, you don't need to sacrifice safety for style. You can enhance your bathroom safety with a luxury walk-in shower like I have, featuring non-slip flooring and a sleek bench and stylish grab bar, which has come in so handy since I had my shoulder done. Plus, they're fun to work with. Rebath.com.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army Civic and Help Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
The 7th annual Suburban Rotary Show and Shine has been rescheduled for August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F. Proceeds support Suburban Rotary's youth programs. Boomer Radio will be spinning tunes. Boxer Barbecue will be there with their food truck, and there'll be a split the pot raffle. Sponsored by Woodhouse Auto Family, Hub International, Equity Bank, the Schubert and Lassett Group, and AM 590 WOW. Show and Shines from 10 to 2. Hope to see you August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F.
Omaha heat can be brutal, and a broken AC makes it worse. If your system can't keep up, call Controlled Comfort for fast, professional cooling service. Their certified technicians diagnose issues quickly and restore comfort when you need it most. Stay cool, protect your system, and avoid costly breakdowns. Homes and businesses alike enjoy reliable indoor comfort through the hottest days of summer across Omaha all season long. Schedule your service today at ControlledComfort.com.
Controlled Comfort keeps it under control. Have you been to Deers Ford lately?
We may not be the biggest dealership around, but we strive to be the best. And Fremont agrees. We've been honored with 9 Best of Fremont awards, including Best Place to Work, New Car Dealer, Pre-Owned Car Dealer, Locally Owned Business, Tire Store, Auto Repair, Glass Repair, Body Shop, and Best Oil Change. See why so many drivers choose Deers Ford Lincoln. Visit us today at DeersFord.com. Fremont's best award-winning dealership.
Have you been to Deers Ford lately?
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Are you frustrated with your current pharmacy? Well, you're not alone. There's a better way. VRX Pharmacy in Omaha, 1 block north of 90th and Dodge. I'm Charles Tomlinson, a pharmacist at VRX. At VRX, we take the time to get your medications organized, simplified, and tailored to you. Plus, we deliver. We work with all providers, except all insurances, Medicare and Medicaid. Call VRX today, a better way to get your medications.
Make the call, make the change today. VRX, the better way, the better way.
Welcome to the Hoppy Hour on Handley and Hansen. Brought to you by Monolithic Brewing. Carved from a single shared vision. Delivering high quality, well-crafted beers. Now, let's crack this hour wide open.
All right, I don't know what's better than a Hoppy Hour with an ice-cold beer in hand, maybe a Benevolent Sun Hazy IPA over at Monolithic Brewing, and a little Donza Kuduro.
Donza's the best.
I mean, happy hours in general are just fantastic on a Friday. Make it a Hoppy Hour with our friends over at Monolithic Brewing over 120th and Fort. And not just great beer, some of my absolute favorite, but also some fantastic burgers. I'm talking about a Chipotle bacon cheeseburger, beer cheeseburger. Their beer cheese is awesome.
Well, this is news to me.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I can't have beer cheese, but
yeah,
the burgers is news to me.
Oh, yeah. You can just
How about that?
You just get a plain burger if you want. You're going to like it, too. They got it all. Monolithic Brewing. You know what? Just head out there now. Just make your Hoppy Hour and our Hoppy Hour coincide. And then you can tell us about the beer you're having right now, and then maybe we'll join you after 6 o'clock. It is our final hour here. Of course, Hoppy Hour is brought to you by Monolithic Brewing. Going to be talking to Mike Golick Jr. Really cool. We're excited about this now.
Oh, yeah.
We love the Rich Eisen show. That leads into our show right here. Rich Eisen is an absolute legend. But when you think about the ESPN airwaves back in the day, Mike and Mike in the morning, Mike Golick and Mike Greenberg were iconic. And, of course, Mike Golick Jr. joined up with Mike Golick Sr. and Trey Wingo. that was a little bit more short-lived after Greeny moved on.
Mm-hmm.
And then now they have rekindled that relationship between Mike Golick, and I shouldn't say the relationship between son and father has been rekindled, but
I think
as
that's
far
been
as
around.
the
Yeah,
radio
yeah.
relationship is now back on ESPN. The Golick's debut, that will be on Monday, right here, starting at 9 a.m., 9 to 11 with senior and junior. So we're going to be talking to Mike Golick Jr. in just about 15 minutes, get his thoughts on this show, but also he's a huge college football guru. Of course, he played at Notre Dame as well. So looking forward to that conversation here in a little less than 15 minutes. Speaking of conversation, Matt Rule, again, going back to some of his comments. This was something that you and I had discussed earlier in the show yesterday, and this was from the main stage, the very first appearance that Matt Rule had with the entire media corps that was in attendance at Big Ten Media Days. And we talked about it was a pretty short main stage podium sesh, if you will. And there was one soundbite that got a little bit of conversation, and it was talking about the Nebraska checking some boxes under his watch, the close game box, and being able to finally get to break that bowl drought, getting to 7-6, being able to have that 7 wins in the regular season as opposed to 7 total, including the bowl win the previous year. But, of course, he said that's not why they came to Nebraska. Here's that.
They've kind of erased the narratives. Nebraska can't win a close game. They've erased that. Nebraska, there's a bowl drought. They've erased that. They went to back-to-back bowl games last year. But we know that's not enough. We didn't come to Nebraska to go 7-6. We came to compete for this. And being here today with teams who've won the national championship, it's inspiring. It speaks to this conference. It speaks to the people that run it, the coaches and the players that are in it. And we understand that we have to take a step this year. We're excited to do that. But I hope you can hear in my voice, I believe we will because of the young men in our program and what they've done.
As you think back on Big Ten Media Days a year ago, probably the defining comment from Matt Rule was the hell on wheels defensive line comment. That was probably the thing that stuck around throughout the remainder of the year the most. And it's different for different reasons every year, right? Like some of it is dependent on what actually happens during the football season, what things from this period of time remain memorable throughout the rest of the year. This is without a doubt. We did not come to Nebraska to go 7-6. We came to compete for this, and pointing to the college football playoff trophy. That is far and away, no matter what happens this season, the biggest takeaway from Big Ten Media Days for Nebraska. On Wednesday, in some side sessions with the World Herald, Troy Dannon, Nebraska athletic director, was asked what he said would represent progress for Nebraska in 2026. He doesn't ever say a specific number of wins, right? Like that's been his thing. He said moving forward, that was his description. And my question to you, Nick, is through that statement of we did not come to Nebraska to go to 7-6. Is that not putting a win number on it? Is Matt Rule not saying and setting an expectation of progress for this year to have more than 7 wins? Is that not the implications of that statement? We did not come to Nebraska to go 7-6. We came to compete for this.
I mean, if you ask it that way, sure, you can say that, but I laugh because if they say go 6-6, like, see, I told you we come here to go 7-6. We came here to go 6-6.
Sure.
No, I think that. Yeah, look. I'll go back to last year when Matt Rule. I don't want to say painted himself in a corner, but he started really getting into, and this was right after the extension was announced. He started getting into the resources that were going to be made available for the roster construction, to not be falling behind of the likes of how Ohio State spends and how Oregon spends, and the proverbial favorites in the conference to win a national championship, or at the very least the conference championship, that they got to start checking boxes of excuses that are keeping Nebraska behind those ones. And I remember telling you, we discussed that, like, good on you to basically say, we're going to have those resources. No more excuses. We're going to be playing the high stakes of college football like the big boys, because we've got those investments. We've got the facilities. We've got all of that working for us. And by saying that, you're essentially saying, this is on me. Now it's on me. I can no longer say, well, I don't get enough money to build the elite level rosters like our peers that we're trying to take down. This is now on me. And he essentially said that. And I thought first of all, I thought it was a very confident statement. I thought he was extremely happy with the alignment that he and Troy Denton, I think, clearly are on when it comes to the type of money it's going to take to continue to acquire that type of talent. But where you have to be very, very careful is when you put that out there and you basically say there are no more excuses. But then, and I'm not saying Matt Rule made an excuse, but let's say this year doesn't go very well. Even if it's something where a team is riddled with injuries. Now, you would think your common fan, anybody with a brain would understand that, well, they were banged up, their schedule was tough, stuff like that happens. But how out of line would it be for somebody like, hey, you told me no more excuses? Just like though, if you go 5-7 or 6-6 this year, you said, hey, you said you didn't come here to go 7-6.
That's what I'm telling you. Like, to me, he just, whether he meant to or not, set the standard for which most people will measure this year's team. I mean, did he not? That seems to be the measure of success for this year, is to go better than 7-6. And I think for a lot of people, 8 wins feels impossible. So, I mean, that also
Severe laid it out on how it could happen.
That also sort of speaks to his mentality on what he thinks of this year's team.
Maybe that might be the case. I don't know if I fully go into that, though. I don't know if you're saying that with the idea of, I am supremely confident that this team will be better than any other teams that he has had in his previous 3 years at Nebraska, and the win-loss record is going to reflect that. That's a slippery slope right there. And I know he doesn't want to hear about the schedule, but we can talk about that. The fans can talk about that. I gave you some of those numbers earlier of why that is a real narrative about the season, or at least a cause for concern. I don't know if he is so confident in that. I think this is, again, where you're up on stage, you're looking to your left, I guess to his right at the time, and you're seeing 3 national championship trophies right there. As he said, we're not here to go 7-6. We're here for, to win things like this. You're also up on the podium knowing that in a couple more coaches that are going to be coming up there, one in Kurt Signetti that gets the type of attention, and Matt Rule doing a great job of, talking about how it's inspiring and everything. But I want to say, I chalk this up more of him getting caught up in the moment and just making sure that he's sending the message to Nebraska fans that I don't accept 7-6.
And that's important too.
As opposed to, I think that's how you measure success this year.
That's important, but whether he intended it or not, that's how people are going to define success this year, I think. I mean, that's the line that people will attach to, just like they did with Hell on Wheels in the defensive line a year ago.
Well, and this kind of circles back to the conversation we were having on Monday, is we always talk about winning in November, and last year for Nebraska, other than the UCLA game, they did not win in November. But this year, I'm sorry, it's going to be defined by what they do in October because of that schedule. And yeah, you've got to take care of business in November. You've got to be able to win games in November.
That's interesting.
But if they fall flat on their face in October, and you look at the type of schedule, and I'll rattle off the games here in October for Nebraska. They've got Maryland. Okay, so obviously, and that one being at home, homecoming, you like that one for Nebraska. But then it's home against Indiana. Then it's at Oregon. Then you've got what everyone's considering, even Severe brought it up too, that Washington game. If, let's say they go 1-3.
So that's what I think most people are expecting is 1-3.
And then you've got the November thing looming where, again, Illinois, Friday night game against the Fighting Illini in Champaign.
But you obviously can't have that month as 0-4.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I hate to start putting must-win games already this early in the conversation, but yeah, Maryland is obviously a must-win game. But Illinois, yeah, it's a winnable game. Rutgers, yeah, it's a winnable game. Really, if you look at November, Ohio State and Iowa are your biggest challenges. That's why I go back to October. We and I'm part of this too. I focus so much on finishing the season strong. November is a lot more manageable than October for Nebraska. How does Nebraska fare in October?
By one game.
I think by 2 games.
And going to Rutgers is not going to be, again, 2 skill position players for Rutgers on multiple preseason All Big Ten teams. That is a tough team on the road after the Friday night game.
Yeah. No, it's fair. But again,
we know it's challenging.
Try to put yourself in a situation to where you're going in November with some momentum. Beating Washington would help. We'll see. I don't know if he's setting 7-6 as, okay, this is going to happen this year. This is what has to happen. Otherwise, bring it on, bring the criticism on. But I think that's more of I'm sending that message to Nebraska fans. That is unacceptable for us, or that is not what we strive for.
It's the right thing to do.
Ambition.
I'm telling you, he's going to get measured by it.
We'll see. We will see. All right. Mike Golick Jr. going to join us on the other side of the break. Tell us about the new show that'll be debuting on Monday right here on the AM 590 WOW airwaves. Also, we'll get his thoughts on some college football topics as well. Handley and Hansen here at AM 590 WOW.
Some people chase trophies. The crew at Monolithic Brewing, they're chasing the perfect pint. Every small batch is built on creativity, collaboration, and a passion for great beer. But don't come hungry expecting just a pint. The kitchen is serving up unique burgers, wraps, and appetizers that are just as memorable. Throw in new beer releases, fun events, and a welcoming neighborhood atmosphere, and you'll see why people keep coming back to Monolithic Brewing. Monolithic Brewing, small batch beer, monumental flavor.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
If the Cowboys have been checking in with the Raiders on the availability and health of Max Crosby, all of a sudden now moving a first-round pick to add Max Crosby to the Dallas Cowboys defense, that changes the perception of what that unit can be in a lot of people's minds. And everybody has said if the Dallas Cowboys defense is just average, then the Cowboys are a playoff team.
Unsportsmanlike, 5 to 9 every weekday morning on AM 590 WOW.
On the upcoming edition of the Great Outdoor Radio Show here on AM 590 WOW, we'll give you some hot tips for your summer fishing. Special guest, Nebraska fisheries biologist Daryl Bauer. You know him. Daryl joins me, Greg Wagner, and you 9 to 10 Saturday morning here on AM 590 WOW. The Great Outdoor Radio Show is presented by Cubby's Convenience Stores, Daniel's Produce, Host Coffee, and Stoysich House of Sausage.
Weekend meal rules, they're different. Lots of meats, messier bites, zero regrets. That's why you need Village Heart. Freshly baked old-fashioned buns that hold up to jumbo hot dogs, juicy burgers, and bold ideas. From lazy lunches to neighborhood block parties, Village Heart brings it all together. Whatever's on the grill, make the bun count. Village Heart. Cookouts start here.
Omaha heat can be brutal, and a broken AC makes it worse. If your system can't keep up, call Controlled Comfort for fast, professional cooling service. Their certified technicians diagnose issues quickly and restore comfort when you need it most. Stay cool, protect your system, and avoid costly breakdowns. Homes and businesses alike enjoy reliable indoor comfort through the hottest days of summer across Omaha all season long. Schedule your service today at ControlledComfort.com.
Controlled Comfort keeps it under control. Have you been to Deer's Ford lately?
We may not be the biggest dealership around, but we strive to be the best. And Fremont agrees. We've been honored with 9 Best of Fremont awards, including Best Place to Work, New Car Dealer, Pre-Owned Car Dealer, Locally Owned Business, Tire Store, Auto Repair, Glass Repair, Body Shop, and Best Oil Change. See why so many drivers choose Deer's Ford Lincoln. Visit us today at deersford.com. Fremont's best award-winning dealership.
Have you been to Deer's Ford lately?
The 7th annual Suburban Rotary Show and Shine has been rescheduled for August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F. Proceeds support Suburban Rotary's youth programs. Boomer Radio will be spinning tunes. Boxer Barbecue will be there with their food truck, and there'll be a split the pot raffle. Sponsored by Woodhouse Auto Family, Sonic, Security National Bank, Color Vision, and AM 590 WOW. Show and Shines from 10 to 2. Hope to see you August 15th at Shadow Lake Collision Center, 84th and F.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen. Give us a call and share your thoughts. 531-895-0590.
Continuing on here with Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW. We are live from Big Ten Media Days here in Chicago. And, of course, talking to all things college football, but also very exciting here as we have become the Omaha affiliate for ESPN. We're very excited to know that right as we were taking the airwaves, the announcement came, and not because we were taking the airwaves in Omaha, but finding out that we're also with that very strong lineup with Rich Eisen from the national programming standpoint, the return of the name Mike Golic, but also with Mike Golic Jr. Golic and Golic are on ESPN. I know this is such a cool show that we're looking forward to
No
just
doubt.
strengthen that national lineup, Grant, but also very excited to be talking to Junior himself, Mike Golic Jr., kind enough to spend some time with us today. First of all, Mike, this has got to be such a cool moment for you because I know you grew up listening to your dad with Mike Greenberg, Mike and Mike in the Morning, an iconic show, and now you get to get back on those airwaves in ESPN with a show that you guys have already built together.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys having me, and it is definitely exciting in that way. You know, I always tell people, fans, when they come up in public and have nice things to say about, you know, what Dad and Greeny meant to them, I grew up just like they did, listening to that show on my way to school, watching it at home. It was the background noise for so many of our lives. And, you know, to get the chance to then begin my career at ESPN, leave ESPN having done a show, you know, with my dad and Trey Wingo, but it was their show. And I was the third chair there, just happy to be a part of what they had built, you know, in both of their respective careers. So, yeah, to get to come back here and put our stamp on it together and really make this a family affair on the show is going to be a blast.
Mike, is there anything that you give your dad a hard time about pretty consistently or vice versa that people can expect as a part of the show when you guys get started next week?
Well, I mean, so when we left the first time around and did Dad's last show, the nicest thing that we heard from so many people was how they saw themselves in our relationship, where, you know, fathers who have been able to work with their son or daughter or vice versa, you know, sons and daughters who've been able to work with their mom and dad all said, oh, I see parts of my relationship there. And I feel like the part that's going to ring true for so many people, especially my peer group who've got parents into their 60s and 70s, I am constantly running IT for my father. In addition to being his co-host and his son, I have to troubleshoot everything that goes wrong. And not just with the work stuff. He loses his Netflix password. Guess who he's coming to because he's stealing the account from me. I mean, it's just never ending. So I have an even deeper appreciation for my mom. So you'll hear plenty of that. Of my dad, I'm sure, bringing his minor technological problems to air like I'm some sort of hotline for him to fix.
Hey, there's a generational gap about the same amount of distance on our show of about 23 years. I had to do the same thing today for Nick. I had to get some microphone permissions patched through. So I feel your pain.
You know what? It is a part of the process. And my dad always reminds me, he's done so much for us. You know, he's helped give us all a great life. So he feels owed this on the back end. We'll see how long that lasts into this new show.
Yeah, so what Grant and Mike don't understand is us older generation, we know that we can get away from it. You guys are going to call us old and uneducated when it comes to technology, but we know we can just get you guys to do it. So I think it's genius, and I think your dad is a genius for doing that as well. You know, Mike, as I mentioned, we're in the heart of Big Ten media conversation right now, and what's been really interesting about this go-around with college football, and I know you guys are going to be tackling this a lot as well, is between the Protect College Sports, but also here at Big Ten Media Days, and Tony Petitti talking a lot about being in favor of not only an expanded college football playoff, but a 24-team college football playoff. I'm curious, for a number in mind, in your opinion, and a guy who, you know, you played at Notre Dame, you're a big advocate of the sport and its growth, what number to you is the sweet spot, and where do you get to a point where you're saying, okay, now we're at a number where it starts to dilute the product? Is 24 that number for you?
Oh yeah, I think 24 is absolutely the product, the number that starts to change the regular season. Like, we can only need to look as far as college basketball, right? And see that sport where you've got a surplus of games in the regular season that are harder for people to care about because you've expanded an already massive tournament field that was the main source of income for college basketball, but certainly the main source of interest for so much of the sport, that it kind of started to render the regular season with a little less meaning. And college football has always had the advantage of being the most, I think, important and impactful regular season in all of sports because of scarcity. It's the thing that football has had, whether it's college or pro, is the advantage for so long, and forfeiting that scarcity in the championship event in a way that affects, conference championships are one thing, but in my mind starts to eat into, all right, how do you structure the regular season? How do you do all these things so you're not drifting further into January with the schedule of a sport that already is kicking off its championship game far too late? So I would like to see it stay at 12 for a while. We had the 14 playoff for a decade. We got to do so much learning about how that operated, the pros and cons, the way the committee approached these different things. We felt like we had things that we knew. And college football right now has been a constant, ever-changing sea of different things, from NIL to the portal to conference realignment to the championship event changing. And so we don't feel like we have anything that we really know right now. And I think having the championship event stay at a number that we can reckon with for a while, to me, would be the right way to go about this. So whatever they do next, because they're certainly not going to listen to me. I think 24 is too much. 16, if you were going to expand it, would probably be the right number for me. Whatever you do next, set it and forget it for a while. Let people understand the sport that they love and are watching a little better than I feel like they get to right now.
Hey, let's go big picture here, even a little bit further than that. Just with all the changes that the sport has gone through in the last, 5 years, especially as you get into the offseason, things feel long for fans. And I think there's a lot of folks out there that, not to sound too dramatic, but they think college football perhaps is in a battle for its soul, especially as you see some of the things that teams have to do to support their football operations from a financial standpoint. Some people probably think they've already lost that battle. Where do you stand with the sport as a whole and sort of the chaos that everybody has to endure during the off seasons that maybe you forget about once the ball is actually flying through the air on the first Saturday of the football season?
Yeah, I think one of the ways that we've already kind of quelled some of that chaos is taking away the spring transfer window. Like, I do think going through this offseason where you weren't worried as a program about losing talent after you got done with spring football and all the anxiety that sowed into coaches that already are highly anxious by nature in the way that they approached that and how closed door they wanted to keep things. Like, I think that let everyone exhale a little bit and let their blood pressure go down some here. As far as the rest of the sport, I do think what we're seeing right now, and this year will kind of be the beneficiary, is while, yes, there are constant changes still in the pay structure, the thought of a salary cap that we briefly entertained after all the legal settlements went out the window and the salaries climb higher and higher. You mentioned the jersey patches. People are having to work harder and harder. And it's probably not a good sign for the sport overall that the spending continues to get to such a place that it's not mid-majors. It's not group of 6 schools chasing after these sponsorships. It's Ohio State and Notre Dame, who we know have plenty of money to operate this already at a high level. But I do think at the same time, on the other side, people are searching for that continuity amongst rosters. And this year might be the strongest example of that we've seen in the NIL and portal era, where you have got a bulk of the contenders, in the Big Ten, while Indiana, the reigning champs, had to turn over a bunch of their roster because they went off to the NFL. Look at everyone that Oregon is bringing back on a team that's supposed to be one of the best in college football. Michigan, while they've got a new coaching staff in there, was able to retain Bryce Underwood and bring a bunch of guys back. Notre Dame and CJ Carr, on and on down the list of these teams. You've got plenty of schools where, all right, they were able to use this money to keep NFL guys who had a decision to make last spring on their team, chasing this dream, compensated for doing so, but in a way that allows these rosters to stay together, develop a little longer, and compete at a really high level like I think we're going to get this season.
It is Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW. We're talking to Mike Golic Jr., the return of both Mike Golic Sr., Mike Golic Jr., the Golics. It debuts on August 3rd right here on these airwaves. And Mike, again, when we think about college football and your passion for this, with the constant changing, we talk about this all the time. The offseason just gets a little bit more agonizing. But for you, for someone who played it, for someone who's watched that change, are Saturdays still the same? Is it for you, is it one of those things you get to Saturday and then all feels right again?
Yeah, no, I think we're still at that point. And, I'm fortunate to get to call games for TNT in the Big 12 still. So you get that reminder. And I think it's a good thing. In this day and age, the television model's changed and become so good. People talked about maybe fewer people going out to certain games. man, when you get back out there on a fall Saturday and you get to see the pageantry, the tradition, you walk through a tailgate lot and see multiple generations all bonding over this thing or this alma mater and these colors that have brought them together, it still feels like we've got something really special here. And, you know, for all the concern about what money would do to the guys that play this sport, I've heard from a number of coaches across different sports in college talking about how guys have taken seriously the investment in them and they've seen the real opportunity for money. And what it's turned into is more of an investment in their bodies, in their training in the offseason, how they approach their craft more as professionals. And so I think we're still getting all of the pageantry around those game day environments, and we're getting an even sharper product on the field in terms of, in some instances, the quality of play there. So, you know, from my vantage point in the booth on 13, 14 Saturdays of fall, it still looks like the same sport I've loved for so long.
What's your favorite stop in the Big 12?
Ooh, you know what? There's plenty to choose from. I'd say one that really stuck out last year, just because I know they've done major renovations, what Kansas has done renovating their stadium, and they were about halfway done last year. They're getting all the way, or I think 75% done by the start of this season this year, has been remarkable. And Lance Leipold deserves so much credit for the level of investment that he's coaxed out for football at a place that was so well known for Bill Self and that basketball program. So they've got a small task this year. No more Jalen Daniels, who was under center for 6 years in Lawrence. But that's a place where selfishly in the booth, I always judge. You go back there, they got a little cove back there. There's a coffee machine. They got snacks set out. They got the own bathroom back there. So they took care of the broadcast booth, which is an easy way to get people to talk nice about you when they leave.
Can't let you leave without a Notre Dame question. What's the place for the Fighting Irish in the future of this sport? You notice in the provisions in this bill that's in front of Congress, or hopefully maybe it'll never get in front of Congress. Who knows? But the bill, that as it stands right now, there's provisions that no team can expand past 19, while the Big Ten has 18 teams in it. Where does Notre Dame land?
The Notre Dame provision in that one that protects them in case they want to ever join up in a conference or it becomes advantageous. I, for one, am shocked that, somehow they found a way to work that in there, because I think every one of the major conferences especially understands that if it were ever to become a situation where Notre Dame needed to join a conference, they're an extreme value add to whoever would be taking them on. And we know a bunch of the TV deals come up in the early 2030s or around 2030. And so you'd love, if you were one of those conferences, to be able to pull in that added value. I think for Notre Dame right now, independence still makes sense. I think, you keep an eye on certain things that you hear. Steve Sarkisian at the podium at SEC Media Day the other day talking about, well, we don't know if, the Notre Dame game is going to be right for us then, as a lot of the Big Ten and SEC folks, as they increase the number of conference games, are wondering more and more, hey, we feel like we've been burned by the committee for losing these big time games. Why are we even going to bother to play them? I think their logic and the argument's flawed, but if that becomes the prevailing belief, then all of a sudden, if it's harder for Notre Dame to schedule some of these games outside of the ACC agreement, would it eventually benefit them? That's the only time. I think they'll join a conference when we're talking about one conference, if we finally give way to a super league. But at this point in time, I still think there's enough appetite. We saw how quickly the BYU game came together and was scheduled. They've got outside agreements with Clemson in the ACC for a series of games in addition to the ACC agreement. So I think they're still well positioned to maintain independence, but also have the fail-safes built in should the sport once again do what it's done best for a while, which is shift dramatically in a way that forces them to react for the benefit of the athletes involved and making sure they have access to that championship event.
He's Mike Golick Jr. You're going to hear him right here on the AM 590 WOW ESPN Omaha airwaves starting on Monday with his father, Mike Golick Sr. The return of the Golicks will be on ESPN. Mike, thank you so much for spending time with us. All the best with the new show on ESPN. And, of course, look forward to hearing you on the call with some college football in the fall as well.
Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it.
Some great stuff there by, I don't even say a rising superstar. He is one of the superstars in the business. We talked about how excited we were to have that ESPN affiliation, and we're excited to have a staple like Rich Eisen. And then it was shortly after, once we had that affiliation, that we learned that the Golicks would be on the ESPN radio airwaves, which is even cooler. We're coming right back.
I was going to say, you got Unsportsmanlike from 6 to 9, and then Rich Eisen from 9, or rather from 11 to 2. And so we're sitting here thinking, we were putting this together, like, man, what's going to go in that 9 to 11 slot? Right. Well, sure enough, got a pretty attractive option there for you.
It all came together once
it did.
Once we got AM 590 back on the air and had whether it's local sports or national sports, but an even stronger national sport radio talk show. Can't wait for that. We're coming back after this here on AM 590 WOW.
Register to win a whole house generator from AM 590 WOW and Generators for Sale with the Generac Power Play giveaway. Log on to 590WOW.com and tell us what you want to protect when the power goes out, and you'll be registered to win a whole house generator installed at your home, valued at nearly $15,000. There's other great prizes too, like a portable generator and smart home devices. Don't be left in the dark. Register today and see contest rules at 590WOW.com.
Boomstock is back, and we're celebrating 5 far-out years. Join Boomer Radio August 29th on the Gene Leahy Mall for Boomstock 2026. Enjoy an evening of classic 60s and 70s vibes with live music from Bozak and Morrissey, Touch of Grey, and The Raw Nerve. Plus food trucks, raffles, games, a full bar, and more. Presented by Mutual of Omaha and benefiting the First Responders Foundation and the Stevens Center. General admission is free. Upgrade to VIP at boomstock.org. Summer evenings just seem better when you have a home you truly love. Imagine relaxing on the patio, hosting the grandkids, or simply enjoying the peace and comfort of a beautifully crafted home designed for the way you live today, specifically for you. At Edward Custom Homes, our homes are maintenance-free, so you can enjoy company in your backyard. No mowing needed. Award-winning, maintenance-free homes at Edward Custom Homes in a growing Elkhorn community. Book your private tour at edwardcustomhomes.com.
Imagine this. It's 7 a.m., you're late for work, and now your garage door won't open. Or worse, it's stuck open all day while you're gone. Suddenly, your home is wide open for the world to see. That's where Spring Kings come in. As the fast and friendly garage door experts, we don't just fix what's broken, we make sure it stays safe. Broken springs, worn cables, faulty sensors, we find it before it costs you having to deal with the neighbors seeing your treadmill turn clothes rack all day. Spring Kings Omaha. We would appreciate your vote again for Best of Omaha. Online at springkingsomaha.com.
Are you frustrated with your current pharmacy? Well, you're not alone. There's a better way. VRX Pharmacy in Omaha, 1 block north of 90th and Dodge. I'm Charles Tomlinson, a pharmacist at VRX. We're not a chain, not a box store, but a locally owned community pharmacy that knows our customers. Plus, we deliver. We work with all providers, except all insurances, Medicare and Medicaid. Call VRX today, a better way to get your medications.
Make the call, make the change today. VRX, the better way, the better way.
When the power goes out, everything changes. Your comfort, safety, and peace of mind suddenly matter more than ever. That's why homeowners across the Midwest trust Generators for Sale. From expert guidance to professional installation, their team makes backup power simple. So when severe weather hits, life keeps moving without interruption. Generators for Sale. Power your home. Protect what matters most. Learn more at homegeneratorsforsale.com.
Hi, my name is Ty, and I recently was told that I needed to get a new roof by 2 different contractors. I was freaking out considering that my roof wasn't even that old, but I saw a commercial on Roof Max, and I gave them a call and have them come out and look at the roof. They came out, they said I was eligible for the Roof Max product that actually rejuvenated the shingles and makes my roof look like it's a brand new roof that was just recently put on. I would recommend Roof Max to anyone.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Folks, tune in to Handley and Hansen for Generational Beef Trivia every Friday starting next week at 4 p.m. Brought to you by the Pit Barbecue Lounge just off of Highway 370 and 72nd Street. We'll pit one generation against another in a game of trivia for a chance to win a $25 gift card from the Pit Barbecue Lounge. AM 590 WOW wrapping up the first week of the Handley and Hansen show. And would be remiss, Nick, if we didn't finish our show or at least get a word in to shout out Mike Patterson of the Omaha World Herald, who after almost 40 years is retiring today and has countless years and countless stories covering high school athletes here in the Omaha area and the surrounding communities. So, man, Mike was somebody who was incredibly nice and helpful to me as I was coming up, I guess. I guess I'm still doing that. But, man, just a great, great human being, and I hope he gets a chance to enjoy it.
I hope that they have a place for that just horrific looking blue Kansas City Royals coat that he wears all the time too. No, Mike Patterson was a staple. I remember first meeting Mike Patterson when I was coaching baseball over at Millard North as early as 2002, and he always had the Royals jacket on the cooler days, and always had the notepad and pencil, covering high school sports as good as anybody that I've ever been around, and also on the UNO hockey beat as well. And he would always shoot me a text and want to know if as he always referred to my wife as the queen. He says, is the queen and your son at the game today? And, Mike and I are both huge Chicago Bears fans too. So we'd always commiserate over our beloved Chicago Bears. He and I had a chance to meet Mike Ditka when he spoke at an event here in Omaha a while back. And I remember both of us were pretty excited about that, but you're right. I mean, Mike is just one of the good guys more than anything. I mean, a very talented writer, fantastic reporter, but more than all of that, just a tremendous human being. So I cannot wait to now just see him at a non-working capacity over at Baxter Arena for hockey games and the various other sporting events that I know he'll be a part of.
I'm going to miss seeing him at Supernova stuff, although I hope he'll still come by.
He will. There's no way that's all of a sudden he's just going to sit around. I don't think that's in Mike's DNA.
You mentioned him being a Bears fan. One of the funnier or more funny moments from this past season is my broadcast partner, Renee Saunders, is a huge Packers fan. And so Mike was giving Renee a pretty hard time before we went on the air, before the playoff game. Then we went on the road trip in Columbus, Ohio, where we were on the air for the first half of the game, and the Packers were winning and doing well. And Renee was nervous on the bus ride back about her starting to watch the game and then things going badly. And that's exactly what happened. And then
I'm glad she did.
Mike gave her all sorts of hell when we got back for the next home Supernovas match. Hey, another shout out to the Nebraska Athletic Department and their communications staff, because it's another Super 11 award for Nebraska's group. And Keith Mann and of course, Seamus McKnight got a chance to accept that award in Chicago for Big Ten Media Days. So another prestigious award for the best sports information department in the country.
They are. I say this all the time when we get to work with them directly, whether it's doing Husker baseball with Jared Meister, who's awesome, and then of course with what we do here, getting to work with Keith Mann and his facilitating so many requests and so many demands when it comes to the football program, but also the team around him too. And Seamus is amazing. Seamus saved us yesterday.
Yes, he did.
We had some audio issues. I felt awful having to ask Seamus for a second go at Justin Evans, but he was able to accommodate us. I mean, it takes not only people that are patient with all of us, especially the attention that goes on Nebraska athletics, and that goes all across the board of the communications department. They're fantastic people. There's just so much demand for that, and we know how much Husker athletics means to everybody in this state, and especially knowing what journalists and radio hosts like us and TV reporters and everybody, they want to do stories all the time, and that's great, and that's part of their job. But just the overall communication that you see out of that department, out of communications from the Nebraska Athletic Department, and their ability to facilitate just about every request that they can possibly do, they're fantastic. And when it comes to stats and everything like that too, I know it's not a glamorous part of it, but they are the very best.
Seamus and I, our relationship, I don't know if I've ever told you this story, did not get off on the best foot. Sophomore year of college.
Well, it's because he knows you're a Royals fan, too.
No, I don't know if he does know that. I guess he does now. But sophomore year of college, going in for the first Nebraska basketball game of the season or second. I was working for the DN at the time covering it, and I'd covered several high school tournaments at state basketball. And so I went in the door that you would go in for state basketball, which was not the media entrance door. And I happened to be chewed out by Seamus for going in the wrong door in front of Kugler and Nick Baugh coming in to call the game. I was like, oh, God. Since then, I think
you guys
I've
have come a long way. That's good.
I think I've recovered. Yeah. I'm better off, I think, with him since.
Now, some much deserved congrats for Mike Patterson and also for the communications department for Nebraska athletics, Keith and Seamus especially. But I always got to think of my boy Jared.
You
too.
cannot leave out J-Rod.
Jared's the man. All right, we're going to come back, wrap things up, tell you what's on tap, get you set up for your weekend and what you can look forward to right here on the AM 590 WOW airwaves. We're back right after this. It's Handley and Hansen.
Hi, this is Dave Navity. Starting August 1st, every Saturday, right here on AM 590 WOW, my show, Saturday Mornings with Dave Navity, is the place to be. We'll cover news, politics, current events, and anything else my brain decides to conjure up. One promise, it'll be entertaining, and it'll be the right way to start your Saturday morning. Starting August 1st, join me 6 to 9 every Saturday morning right here on AM 590 WOW.
After my recent shoulder replacement, my surgeon recommended I get my PT at EHS Physical Therapy and Chiropractic. That's Omaha's premier spine, muscle, and joint clinic. If it hurts when you go like this, the award-winning EHS team will create a customized treatment plan to get you out of pain and back on track, being and feeling your best. Check out some of the glowing testimonials online. Google EHS Physical Therapy and Chiropractic, 74th and Pacific.
Say aloha to bold island flavor at Hawaiian Bros. Surf the savory wave into juicy huli huli chicken, luau roasted pork, spicy kilauea, or Molokai chicken. Then chill it down with a light and refreshing Dole pineapple soft serve. Hawaiian Bros offers catering and group meals, making it easy to impress your guests without the work and let the luau begin. Now in 3 Omaha locations, it's never been easier to take your taste buds on a mini vacation at Hawaiian Bros and eat like you're on island time. Hawaiian Bros, serving summer to Nebraska year-round. Now open in Elkhorn.
The first day of school will be here before you know it, so let's make sure every student in the metro area is ready to go. Join us for the Salvation Army 7 Can Help Kids Back to School Backpack Program, sponsored by Methodist Health System and supported by Firefighters on the Move. Drop off new backpacks and school supplies now through August 3rd at select Metro Credit Union, Cubby's Convenience Stores, and Methodist Urgent Care locations. For a full list of drop-off sites or to donate to the program online, go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org.
Jeff Ballinger, Gorilla Car Wash, and your family has quite a history in Council Bluffs.
Jack, we've been blessed to be in business 100 years. My grandfather starting Ballinger Automotive in 1926, and Gorilla Car Wash, of course, starting 1991. So we have been blessed to be in business. We're grateful to the people in the metro area who have traded with us for so long. Yeah, we sure haven't taken it for granted.
That is quite a legacy. It's Gorilla Car Wash. Find those 8 locations, GorillaWash.com.
Feeling stiff, sore, or worn down? 42 Degrees may be able to help. Their knowledgeable team listens first and explains wellness-focused options for everyday comfort with no pressure. Learn more at 42degrees.com. Trusted by Mom.
The Summer of Performance event is going on right now at Acura of Omaha. Now it's time for you to take advantage of these low payment lease offers at Acura of Omaha, 4211 South 144th Street. Always open at AcuraofOmaha.com.
Have you ever heard of lion's mane mushrooms? It's a mushroom that looks like a brain, and the supplement supports memory that may help with anxiety or depression. Also contains antioxidants and fiber that can support gut and immune health. Capsules of lion's mane are on sale all this month at both No Name Nutrition markets.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
I'm Nancy, Jill of All Trades. Oh, Kim is amazing. She's on her 4th project with me. I feel like she's done my whole house. She's something different than a lot of other contractors out there. She cares, and she'll work 27 hours a day if she could. Oh, I'm just so happy with Kim and Jill of All Trades. I just keep going back. There's nothing that she can't do.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. And don't forget, Best of Omaha voting is going on now.
My wife and I were watching television one evening, and we saw an ad come on, and it was for Roof Max. So after I had 4 or 5 people out, he came out, and sure enough, it turned out to be a great process, especially being able to replace some of the shingles that came off. I'd be happy to give a recommendation. You guys do such an outstanding job, and I've watched you all the way through the process, and I just have nothing but praise for how careful and neat and really exacting crew was and what they did.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741. Losing someone you love is never easy. During life's most difficult moments, having caring people by your side can make all the difference. At Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, you'll see compassion in every face and feel comfort in surroundings filled with light, love, and cherished memories. For traditional funerals, cremation, personalized tributes, or veteran services, Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services. Locally owned with 2 convenient locations, North 90th and the newly expanded chapel at 82nd and L. Learn more at gsfuneral.com.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
As we say goodbye, it is What's on Tap here on Handley and Hansen on a Friday. It's even better because now we can get into the weekend as we wrap up the happy hour. Also brought to you by Monolithic at 120th and 4th. Monolithic Brewing. Great place to start your weekend.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, I would highly recommend that. Sports Nightly. They will have, I believe, what is going to be their final best of. And they'll have the 2016 Nebraska-Oregon football game. And then it's a full week starting next week for Kyle and Jessica. That's right. Big thanks to Kyle Crooks for joining us.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, he was great.
Yes, earlier today. Also, big thanks to Scott Docterman for joining us. Michael Severe was fantastic. Mike Golick Jr., of course, if you missed any of the show, you can check out the podcast. You can get it on Spotify and Apple, or you can just go to 590WOW.com or the app.
You got it in the app, too?
We've got an app. The Apple or Google Play stores there is where, if you missed anything, you can check all of that out, and we encourage you to do so. So that's what's coming on right after us. You can enjoy the 2016 Nebraska-Oregon game. And then after
that
game,
you've got America at Night with McGraw-Millhaven from 8 to 11. And since it's Friday, Bill Cleveland joins, and he shares some stories from his cross-country journeys, highlighting quirky local spots, museums, and Americana. All that and more tonight, 8 to 11 on AM 590 WOW. You guys going to see Spider-Man?
Probably. Isn't there a new Mario Brothers out? Or is starting today?
Oof.
You don't know that?
Oof.
Okay.
That was a while ago.
No, I thought that did. Oh, that's right.
That was like a long time
ago. The new Mario Brothers?
What is wrong with you? Anyway.
Well, I know there was a new Moana. It's like the human version where the Rock is actually
right.
In it.
Right, the human version.
Is the new Mario Brothers out?
No. So Spider-Man.
Wait, you're saying no, or it already came out?
It came out like months ago.
Yeah, it was the Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah.
Mainly.
Okay. Well, we haven't seen it yet.
It's okay. You can always get it on streaming.
Oh, you know what? I think that's what it is. I think it's now finally available on streaming.
There you go.
That's why we're
Reese would
excited.
eat that stuff up.
That's why he loved the first one.
Okay, that makes
sense. The first
sense.
one was fantastic.
Just get a pizza and some cold ones.
The Celtics put out this crazy, like this weird graphic that has like a Jason Tatum Brand New Day mashup.
Oh.
Where Jason Tatum is sitting on the top of a building in New York, or standing rather, and it says Big Deuce Brand New Day over the top. Apparently that's his nickname, Big Deuce.
So he's taking a big deuce
I don't know.
in New York City?
How did we go from farting to deuces?
Well, it's just Friday, but I don't know how. I don't know if I've seen a worse sports nickname than
the Big Deuce. Yeah, I mean, so I was explaining to my family about Randy Johnson and the infamous killing of the bird, because, fun fact, my wife is terrified of birds. Maybe that's not a fun fact. She's definitely afraid of that. Oh, there's the Big Deuce Brand New Day.
You've got it there up on our stream, by the way, for those of you watching on Twitter today or YouTube.
Are we sure he's not in Boston there?
I don't know.
I think that's
Skyline
Boston.
well enough. It may well be Boston.
That seems like
But it would make more sense for it to be New York.
It would be funny because it'd be like the Big Deuce on.
Yeah, it's so
okay.
I don't. Get
I'm
what
trying to
they're
make.
to
I'm
do.
trying to make sense of this.
There's not probably a more inauthentic. He is so inauthentic.
Justice, why is he? Why is this a brand new day for Big Deuce?
I think it's because he has no Jaylen Brown, so maybe there's that going on. I mean, his son's name is Deuce. They're trying to cross-promote with the new Spider-Man movie coming out. There's a lot of theories. Or, hey, maybe he just had a nice little trip to the bathroom and wanted everybody to know about it. You never know with these guys.
Said Spider-Man movie, which I am excited for. I don't know if I'll see it this weekend. I'm hoping things don't get brutally spoiled for me. We'll see. But it's going to do some crazy numbers at the box office already.
It's gonna do some crazy
projected to open. Is now opening to have the biggest domestic opening day of all time, $167 million opening day.
That's more than Aquaman in Entourage with Vincent Chase.
Yes.
No, you go back to the worst nicknames. I still think for a younger generation that does not understand Randy Johnson, Big Unit is. I mean,
that's not a bad name at all. That's a cool name.
You have some context in there.
I mean, he's a big old dude. He's what, 6'11"? Like he's a big old southpaw.
And what's funny is his teammates with the Mariners and Ken Griffey Jr. did both of those guys somehow get into photography because now they are actual. I think they're moonlighting as professional photogs.
Yeah,
I know Ken Griffey Jr. is doing it, and then all of a sudden Randy Johnson has been doing some photogging as well. I don't know what happened.
Speaking of baseball, Guardians going to do anything crazy at the trade deadline on Monday or over the weekend?
No, they'll probably find an outfielder that's hitting about 212. That's what they do.
Hey, my doppelganger Dustin May is going to get traded.
Oh,
very, very sad.
Excited about that?
Oh.
No, very sad. Got a lot of swing and miss. If the guards go pick him up, I'm going to be ticked.
Apparently,
You
the Royals.
do kind of look like
the Royals are. The Royals are not going to do anything, which is surprising. I thought they would sell. I thought they would sell.
Oh, so you think they're just going to stand pat?
That's what I was seeing. Reports were that they may not do anything. The stove will be off entirely for Piccolo and company. And again,
they're
to
not
close the
completely
loop on
out
the
of it.
horrible ERA. It's like a 7.5 ninth inning ERA for the bullpen in the ninth.
That's a lot different than a 20.
Yeah, but it's still the worst ERA, I believe, since 1930 for any bullpen in the ninth inning.
They still need to fire Matty Q. No, he needs to be gone yesterday.
Yeah,
yesterday, brother.
You and I are in the same boat on that.
Don't get him going on that one.
Hey, what do we got next week? We got all sorts of fun stuff, including the trade deadline, but
fall camp gets underway on Wednesday. So we will be getting you ready for that. A lot of college football to get into. It's here, folks. It's here. We can finally start talking about all of that. So, yep, we'll have Evan Bland on the show on Monday. I feel like I'm missing somebody.
Damon Benning.
Oh, oh my God. How could I miss Damon Benning?
And, okay, this is an idea right now. We could begin our NFL whip-around series on Monday, huh?
Maybe we could.
We could try that.
You're just going to have to tune in and find out. For Justice Rhodey and Grant Hansen, I'm Nick Handley. You've been listening to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. Good night.